Alright, you and I are about to watch a childhood sweetheart completely ignore her fiancé's protests. She was dead set on flying to Shanghai, playing hero for a male best friend who hurt himself in a dramatic stunt. But the ultimate twist she missed? By the time she wandered back 3 days later, her fiancé had already jumped ship. Meanwhile, Lucy Lancaster was just chilling in a VIP hospital room. She practically ordered her assistant to spam your phone, but only a lonely, busy signal echoed in the quiet hall. The call dropped after the classic busy message. Lucy frowned, looking visibly annoyed, and her assistant Lily could see the irritation clear as day. A heavy, grayish exhaustion lingered in Lucy's eyes. Ever since Ethan got into trouble, neither of them had rested for a single second. Even Lily, who practically lived on overtime, felt her eyes drying out like the Sahara. Her mind was spinning, let alone her boss's. The assistant hesitantly suggested she get some rest while she kept trying to reach Mason. After all, he had a good temper. She figured a nice gift later would easily smooth things over. But Lucy snapped a quick no while staring at her phone. Aside from random notifications, there were 0 texts or calls from you. The last contact was right before her flight, when you both planned to go pick out an engagement dress. You had been hyping up the day since the night before. The boutique had even sent her the dress to get her opinion. You called just as she was boarding, but her mind was so consumed by her friend Ethan that she straight up ignored it. Since then, total silence, not a single peep. This was a first, and it felt way too long. Honestly, you were supposed to be jealous. You were supposed to be whining about her ditching you. Did you just skip the engagement party you wanted for ages? She expected to explain why your childhood friend Chloe acted out yesterday, or apologize for humiliating your family. But there was absolutely nothing. Watch closely. Here Lucy is suddenly hit by a wave of panic as her finger hovers over your contact name. She hesitated to press call, realizing deep down she was starting to regret her choices. But Ethan had saved her life once. She couldn't just do nothing when a life was on the line. Surely you would understand, right? It had always been this way. You never really fought her over Ethan before. As Lucy drifted off, her assistant Lily started scrolling through the notes on her phone. The main estate reports that Madame Lancaster is taking the whole family abroad. They probably won't be attending your engagement party. Lily's voice trailed off into a whisper. Lucy's face instantly darkened, and the assistant stealthily watched her terrifying expression. Her voice was quiet as a buzzing mosquito when she added that the call came directly from the old butler. Though not said outright, the butler was the patriarch's main confidant. His call basically meant Grandpa Lancaster himself had greenlit this brutal snub. At the end of the day, Lucy was just an illegitimate daughter. Only the backing of your family, the Millers, kept her safe from the other power-hungry Lancaster heirs. Her actually becoming the successful Lancaster heir had made Madame Lancaster grind her teeth to absolute dust. This trip abroad was just a thinly veiled excuse to humiliate your family and sow discord between Lucy and you. You and I both know the bride's family skipping the engagement is the ultimate public humiliation. It was easily the most insulting scenario in all of Beijing. After a long silence, Lucy coldly ordered to change the flight. She would do whatever it took to return in time. Meanwhile, your new, impromptu partner Sophia Smith returned to her family's massive estate. Grandpa Smith was chilling in the lakeside pavilion, while Grandma Smith lounged on a long chair, reading a book. Hearing footsteps, she set aside her antique magnifying glass, recognized Sophia, and immediately peeked behind her. Her silver hair shimmered in the sunlight as she noticed Assistant Xavier wasn't there. Sophia just gave her a knowing glance. Rumors about Sophia preferring women had spread like wildfire, and even the Smith family had tacitly accepted it. Among them, her novel-reading grandma had already designated Assistant Xavier as her absolute favorite future granddaughter-in-law. Despite the scorching heat, Grandpa Smith just relaxed. He asked who she was doing this for, wondering what if her assistant quit one day. "You will end up crying," he joked. Sophia glanced over, noticing the handwritten title of her grandma's book, The Secretary's Path Against Oppression. Having such a trendy grandmother gave Sophia a major headache. Sophia told her to read fewer trashy novels because her assistant already has a boyfriend. Hearing that news, Grandma Smith looked absolutely devastated. She looked like the sky had fallen, shocked that the assistant managed to get a boyfriend while working all day. She asked when Sophia would bring someone home, even a woman. But Sophia replied she didn't need to look anymore. Sophia dropped the bomb, saying she skipped dating and went straight to getting engaged, just coming back to notify them. Grandpa Smith leaped up so fast his book hit the floor. Engaged to who? Can you even get a certificate for that here, if not her assistant? Could it be Penny? She is the only heir of the prestigious Pei family, and they guard her like their own eyes. Would they let her marry in? As Grandpa sweated bullets, Sophia facepalmed and explained it was a guy, the youngest Miller's son. "You and I are going to love this," Grandma pinched Sophia to make sure Mason's 3-day engagement wasn't a dream. Let's dive into this crazy story where Grandpa Smith realizes it is not a dream. No guys have ever been near Sophia, and now a perfect grandson-in-law just drops out of thin air. He actually got a grandson-in-law. But wait, When is this wedding happening? Isn't 3 days a little too rushed? Maybe they should delay it? The dowry is not even ready. Just thinking about it gives Grandma Smith a massive panic attack. She insists on checking the family warehouse herself. They finally scored a grandson-in-law, and they are not about to look cheap. Sophia watches her grandma sprint out of there like an Olympic athlete. Within hours, literally everyone in the massive Smith family knows Sophia is getting engaged. Super busy corporate executives drop absolutely everything to rush home. The main living room is packed, looking even more crowded than the Lunar New Year. Uncle Smith strokes his chin. The Miller family in 3 days? Is this guy the son of the giant real estate tycoon, Mr. Miller? Since her fourth uncle runs their real estate sector, they piece it together instantly. Sophia gives a nod, and her uncle gasps in shock. Wait, is not the Miller heir supposed to marry the Lancaster heiress? Did Sophia just steal someone else's fiancé? Sure, they are not scared of them, but still, is not that a bit scandalous? Grandma Smith is busy checking the wedding gift list, but her ears perk up instantly. Now pay attention to this hilarious reaction. She glares at her son, yelling that their sweet Sophia can kidnap whoever she wants, and it is totally fine. Uncle Smith, a ruthless corporate titan, immediately shrinks under his mother's death stare. He throws his niece a completely terrified, apologetic look. Unbothered by the chaos, Sophia casually grabs a lychee from the fruit plate, playing with it as she asks, "How is this stealing?" She calls it making an effort. Grandma Smith completely agrees, shouting that someone is finally taking her precious cabbage off the market. Grandma slams the massive gift list shut and points at her kids. She did not summon them to gossip, and they cannot look cheap. She orders them to make the list even bigger. Immediately, maids hand out copies of the massive document to the entire room. They study it harder than a multi-million-dollar business deal, instantly complaining about the lack of luxury overseas properties. Throw in that vineyard in District F, it is the perfect honeymoon spot, and those antique jewelry sets you just bought, add them too. Also, grab that sports car in all 5 colors. If any are missing, buy them now. The wealth of this family is just absurd. Since everyone runs giant corporate empires, the gifts they suggest are basically just their own version of local specialties. After a quick brainstorm, the gift stack gets way thicker. Grandma nods in pure satisfaction as the meeting ends and everyone leaves. Let's pause for a second because Grandma is starting to suspect something, staring right at Sophia, who just sheepishly grins. She confesses she told Mason that Grandma was extremely sick, just to rush the wedding before he could back out. Her grandma yells at her for using her own family as bait. Seeing a smack coming, Sophia backs away, yelling for her grandma to just play along before she sprints out of the room. The night before the big day, your best friend Wyatt Ting finally flies back from Paris just in time. He already heard all about the drama with Lucy and the Lancaster family, and he cannot stop complaining about that toxic woman. He yells about how she ditched you at your own party. He warned you that the Ice Queen has zero personality, so why stay obsessed with her? And do not even get him started on that Ethan guy. That drama started way back in college. He pushed Lucy away from a slow-moving car, barely got a scratch, and now acts like a hero. It was basically just a pathetic cry for attention. Seriously, Wyatt does not buy that emotional guilt trip, especially since you and Lucy grew up together. This random guy crashes in, acting like a victim. Beijing and Shanghai are extremely far apart, so if he was really dying, he would be long gone before she arrived. Wyatt gets angrier by the second, rolling his eyes so hard they might actually get stuck. Over the years, Lucy bought Ethan a car, a house, and even got his brother a job. There is a limit to how much you owe someone, even with those puppy eyes. He pats your shoulder, telling you that since Lucy is heartless, you should not feel guilty for moving on. He begs you to cancel the engagement so he can introduce you to someone better. You just laugh and ask if he has a backup ready. Handing him a glass of water, you tell him that getting worked up over those two is not worth his energy. He drinks the water but reveals he ran into Lucy's parents and the rest of the Lancaster family at the airport. The twin sisters went on a luxury trip abroad. For a major family alliance, skipping this is completely unheard of. There is no excuse for the bride's entire family to skip the wedding. They clearly think you are a complete pushover. If you let this slide, she will walk all over you forever. You know Lucy has absolutely no boundaries. You calmly reply that arrogance and conceit make a terrible combo, knowing their illness excuse is just a cover for a luxury vacation. They are targeting you and your brother because your parents passed away, leaving the two of you to run the family business alone. You look at Wyatt, explaining that this is exactly why the wedding must go on. You are just replacing the bride, that is all. Canceling the wedding would hurt the Lancasters, but it would also leave you and your brother open to massive public gossip. With the company in chaos and greedy shareholders targeting your brother, you and I know a massive power play is about to go down. Alright, you and I are about to dive into some serious drama. I cannot become a burden to the Millers, so I found someone far superior. As for whether this ruins things for the Lancaster family, honestly, I don't care at all. Hearing this, Wyatt was utterly dumbfounded. What did you just say? The bride changed? So, the The person you are marrying tomorrow is not Lucy? It is Sophia Smith accepting the engagement gifts after a formal family meeting. Wyatt was stunned to his core. Was this really the same Sophia Smith who had completely ruined Lucy's entire youth? Sophia Smith, the exact woman Lucy still resented to this very day. What kind of crazy romance plot twist was this? He could not even fathom what Lucy's face would look like when she found out the truth. Her expression was going to be absolutely priceless. I am actually going to witness Mason kicking Lucy to the curb. This entire trip back home was definitely worth it. On the day of the engagement, you sat in the back of the Maybach's car, watching the scenery blur past. You were incredibly nervous about meeting Sophia's family very soon. You clutched your phone tightly. Suddenly, it vibrated. You tapped the screen and a photo popped up. It showed the VIP area of a hospital, featuring a woman in a white shirt. With her back to the camera, she was gently handing porridge to a patient. Her jacket was draped casually over the sofa. The entire scene had such a relaxed, cozy vibe, but even without seeing her face, you could recognize Lucy at a single glance. Even though you decided to completely cut ties with her, seeing this picture still made your heart ache with a cold, heavy numbness. Pay attention here, because this is where things get hilarious. Wyatt noticed your mood shift and peeked at your phone. His voice cut off, transforming into a fiery rant. Why won't these two fake idiots just drop dead? In short, I am about to snatch your phone and screenshot this utter trash. The sender unsent the message with lightning speed, followed by a new text. Sorry, Mr. Mason, sent to the wrong person. Wyatt gripped his phone, his face darkening with absolute rage. He gritted his teeth and growled out, I start work at 8 a.m. and these manipulative little green tea fakes are already testing my patience. Suppressing the chaotic emotions surging inside you, you calmly raise your hand to help Wyatt calm down and catch his breath. What are you so angry about? If he wants Lucy, he can have her. You took your phone back, saying, It is fine, I already blocked them anyway. Meanwhile, in a quiet hospital room in Shanghai, Ethan leaned against the wall, staring blankly at the rejection message he had just received. His gut told him that this time, something had fundamentally shifted forever. Just then, Assistant Lily walked in, looking completely expressionless. Mr. Ethan, Chief Executive Officer Lucy is flying back to Beijing today. Take care of yourself, your work has been reassigned. The sudden news jolted Ethan back to reality. He bit his lip. Lucy was actually leaving, even after he went as far as cutting his own wrists. How could they not keep this woman here? Ethan felt his chest tighten as he asked, Can I return to Beijing with Lucy? I know what you were thinking. This guy is shameless. No matter what, Lucy was his best target, and he was not giving up. Assistant Lily frowned. She had arranged this trip specifically to keep Ethan away from Lucy's engagement party, but she never expected his desperation to go this far. Despite all my precautions, he still managed to drag Lucy all the way here, she thought. She nodded, suppressing her anger. Fine, pack up. I will book the flight. Ethan watched her leave, clenching his fists. That Assistant Lily was incredibly annoying. No matter how much he tried to flatter her, she remained completely cold. Once he officially became Lucy's husband and took over, Lily would be the very first person he fired. After Lucy and her team flew back to Beijing, they hopped into Chloe's car, speeding toward the boutique. Chloe gripped the steering wheel, unable to hold back her complaints. Sister Lucy, the Miller family went way too far this time. I can forgive them for humiliating me at their estate last time. After all, you and Mason are getting engaged, so we are practically family. But they did not even send me an invitation. She remembered the incredibly cold reception she got when delivering the guest list to the Miller house. Furious waves of anger surged in her heart. Since she started working for the Lancaster family, she had never experienced such absolute humiliation. Since Mason's parents had passed away, Sister Lucy was worried his family could not handle all the wedding preparations. She had specifically arranged for Chloe to help out, planning to teach the Miller family a lesson by intentionally not showing up today. But instead, the Miller family did not even bother sending her an invitation. Furious, she rushed to the airport to pick up Lucy just so she could complain about the arrogant Miller family before the event even started. Chloe kept ranting and spilling all the tea, but the passenger in the back had zero reaction. She cautiously peeked at Lucy through the rearview mirror. Lucy had her eyes closed, resting her head. Heavy dark circles sat under her eyes, and even while resting, her brows were tightly furrowed in stress. Anyone could tell her mood was absolutely terrible. Chloe instinctively shot an inquiring look at Assistant Sam, who had joined them in the car. Assistant Sam silently mouthed a single word, Mason. Chloe's face lit up with instant understanding. They must be fighting again. Over the years, they had plenty of fights because of Ethan, but Chloe did not worry. It never took more than 3 days anyway. Mason would always admit defeat and come crawling back to Sister Lucy. Chloe was just about to reassure her when Lucy suddenly spoke up. Has Mason contacted you at all recently? No, you know we haven't been on good terms since we were kids, Chloe replied. Lucy's face remained totally expressionless as she gave a curt reply. The car approached the boutique entrance. Lucy checked her watch, then glanced toward the storefront just a short distance away. And trust me, we are about to see a massive confrontation. She spotted a black Bentley with that familiar license plate, 06601, as Chloe chimed in. Alright, you and I are diving into some serious drama. Isn't that Sophia Smith? Everyone here should be guests, but she has zero ties to the Millers. She knows the Lancaster family even less. What is she doing here? Wait, she is linking arms with a man. Chloe rubs her eyes. Doesn't she like women? Lucy stares at the two figures in the distance. Sophia is tall, completely blocking the man standing right beside her. You cannot see his face, only his crisp white suit. Lucy narrows her eyes, locking her gaze onto his back. He feels strangely familiar, almost exactly like Mason. She watches Sophia get into the car with him and rubs her forehead. Honestly, she feels like she has been cursed these past few days. How could Mason be with Sophia? They are from completely different worlds. Besides, he would never wear such an embarrassing color. The car finally pulls up to the boutique. Lucy steps out, but when she sees the vibrant red roses covering the steps, her heart completely skips a beat. The flowers for the engagement party were swapped. These are not the white roses she loves. Suddenly, a staff member at the door politely stops them from entering. Hello, we are closed today. We can help you book a service for tomorrow. Lucy freezes for a second, then says, I know. I am here for the engagement party. The staff member looks stunned. Miss, did you mix up the time? The party is already over, and we are cleaning up. The worker's face is priceless. In all her years in this industry, she has never seen someone show up at 2 p.m. Now, watch closely, this is where the panic sets in. Most guests left hours ago. Lucy clenches her fists in total, painful silence. Trying to be professional, assistant Sam gathers the courage to check his watch. The party is indeed over. Should we head back first? His words startle her. She peers inside the store. I do not know why, but I feel incredibly anxious today. I need to go inside and look. The staff member looks awkward, but seeing their wealthy vibe, she decides not to cause trouble. She immediately compromises. You can look inside, but please make it quick. Lucy walks in, and the moment she enters the hall, she is surrounded by endless red roses. A heavy scent fills the air. The staff were not lying. The venue is being dismantled, with workers carrying away a massive decoration woven from rose vines. It blocks almost the entire backdrop board, leaving only the letters for Mason faintly visible right at the top. Lucy stares at the red roses in dead silence and picks one up. Meanwhile, Chloe grabs a cigarette, brings the black bag to her nose, and sniffs it. These roses seem really rare. Look at that dark red color paired with the soft velvet texture. Assistant Sam pushes his glasses up. This variety is actually called the black antelope. It is not very common, but it is not ultra rare either. However, getting this many fresh black antelopes on such short notice, that must have taken a massive amount of effort. Hearing that the flower was not that rare, Chloe immediately brushes it off. She tosses the bouquet back, muttering she thought it was famous. Sister Lucy, everyone is gone. She smiles. But let's pause you, and I know this is bad. What is so interesting? Let us leave. 2. Lucy twirls the flower, her eyes on the petals. Did you tell him I was coming back? Assistant Sam stands up straighter. I messaged Mr. Mason right before we boarded. Suddenly, the air in the room turns freezing cold. He knew she was coming, but he still did not wait. Zero sleep and no food make Lucy's vision blur, and her body sways slightly. Assistant Sam quickly slips a candy into her mouth. Are you okay? Our CEO did not eat a single thing because she was in such a rush. Low blood sugar. She always forgets to eat due to work. Usually, Mr. Mason supervises her, or I help prepare simple meals at the office. It has been so long since I made this mistake. I almost forgot our CEO even suffers from low blood sugar. Chloe helps Lucy sit down on a nearby chair. This is all Mason's fault for making Sister Lucy so angry. She is already exhausted from taking care of Ethan, and he still throws a tantrum now. He did not even wait for their own engagement. It is absolutely ridiculous. Assistant Sam opens his mouth but says nothing. He just keeps it to himself, thinking he has no right to judge his boss's actions. Lucy leans against the table. Let us go back. I want to see him. On the way there, she dials his number over and over, but gets a busy signal every single time. The atmosphere in the car gets even heavier. Chloe cannot hold back anymore. Sister Lucy, you know what Mason's temper is like. This is not his first time acting childish. Just ignore him. Honestly, you spoil him too much. He dares to ghost you for days right before the wedding. Once you are married, he will walk all over you. Sensing things are getting out of hand, Assistant Sam clears his throat. Mr. Mason prepared the entire engagement party by himself. He was probably too busy to see it. I have been so swamped lately that I barely touch my phone. Lucy says nothing, her expression growing incredibly dark. In a cold voice, she mutters, You are right. I have spoiled him way too much. She admits she was in the wrong this time, but after arriving, she had Assistant Sam notify him, and they did everything they could to rush back. After over 10 years together, couldn't he understand her even a little bit? Lucy looks at the jewelry box in the back seat and sneers. She actually wanted to make amends and rushed to bring him a gift. Now, it seems completely pointless. Lucy rubs her tired eyes and tosses the velvet gift box to assistant Sam. Give it to Ethan. If he does not want it, someone else will gladly take it. She is just waiting for the day he regrets this. Assistant Sam wants to say something to calm her down, but his phone rings. Answering it, the girl on the other end sounds like she's about to cry. It is the president's assistant. Sam, is Lucy with you? Yes. And trust me, you and I are going to want to see what happens next. All right, you and I are jumping right into a total corporate disaster. What is wrong? Sam's face goes dead pale listening to his phone. On their way back, Lucy looks ready to kill. Next to her, assistant Sam is completely glued to his phone, sweating bullets. Chloe grips the wheel so hard her hands shake, muttering in pure rage. How dare he? That worthless college dropout Harry really did it. If his younger brother had not saved Lucy's life, that loser would never have set foot inside the Lancaster group. He actually sold garbage as premium products, completely ruining the massive partnership between the Lancaster and Lewis families. Aside from the Millers, the Lewis family was the absolute biggest partner the Lancasters had. Now everything is ruined. Even if they save the deal, Lucy's name is trash. All because that idiot wanted to pocket millions of dollars. But his greed is destroying the company's entire foundation. Assistant Sam desperately calls the client again, but it just rings. No answer. The call drops. Sam's cool face is replaced by a deep, worried frown as he addresses his boss. Chief Executive Lucy, Mr. Lewis is not answering. For years, young Mason handled these negotiations, and we never had any issues. Both families were close allies, so they never played hardball. This is the first time Mr. Lewis has completely ignored them. Sam remembers that Lucy skipped Ethan's big engagement party. He scowls, putting the pieces together. Sure, material issues have been brewing for 6 months, but exploding right now is no coincidence. Mr. Lewis is making a statement. Honestly, Sam never wanted the Yee brothers in the company from day one, but Lucy insisted on doing things her own way, ignoring all warning signs. She forced those brothers into power despite everyone's protests. Trust me, this whole alliance is falling apart right before our eyes, and their projects are in absolute ruins. Sam just cannot understand it. Lucy is supposed to be brilliant. Why does she completely lose her mind whenever Ethan is involved? Those Yee brothers are like blood-sucking parasites. Sam closes his eyes, feeling completely helpless. Meanwhile, Lucy listens to Chloe's furious whispers, her own chest pounding in panic. Her heart is about to explode. She remembers putting Harry in charge of the warehouse and how everyone warned her not to do it. They told her, "Boss Lucy, Harry has zero skills for this. If you want to train him, start him at the bottom." His resume barely qualifies him to guard the door. Promoting him straight to manager is a massive mistake. Even loyal Chloe begged her, saying, "Sister Lucy, you are losing your mind. He was expelled for stealing, and you are handing him the warehouse keys? That is pure madness." But what did Lucy say? She dismissed it as personal bias against Ethan. She assumed Sam was just an elitist snob judging a guy by his degree. She brushed off the theft charge, thinking it was just a cheap watch worth a few $1,000s. To her, that was just pocket change, not real crime. So she arrogantly promised to take personal responsibility if anything went south. She was incredibly arrogant. She figured that even if a loser like Harry messed up, she could easily sweep it under the rug. The car screeches to a halt at headquarters. Lucy and Chloe immediately leap out and rush inside. Getting out, Sam spots the velvet box. It was a special gift Lucy bought, and now he is ordered to hand it to Ethan. Sam wants to leave it, but stick with me here. He reaches back inside and grabs the box anyway. He passes the box to a receptionist, telling her to ship it off. Meanwhile, upstairs, a terrified assistant brings in coffee for the 3rd time. With tear-filled eyes, she begs the angry client, "Please, Secretary Wang, have some coffee." With Lucy and Mason completely unreachable, this poor girl has to bite the bullet and face the wrath alone. Representing the furious Lewis family, Secretary Wang sits rigid on the sofa, glaring at the clock with absolute disgust. "Keep your cheap coffee. Our boss deserves respect, and quite frankly, I do not have time for this nonsense." The assistant sobbed, pleading for her to wait. But Wang was already boiling mad, and seeing this girl whine only made her even more irritated. "Stop crying. People will think I am bullying you. Honestly, I have no idea how Lucy even became the chief executive. What kind of circus is she running here? That assistant Ethan is always sick, taking endless leave for minor headaches. And yet Lucy personally coddles him, while this other useless assistant just cries over pouring a simple cup of coffee. The assistant is utterly terrified and close to breaking down. She stares at Wang, desperately trying to swallow her tears. Lucy walks right into this mess, witnessing the exact scene. She glares at Wang, clearly annoyed, and tells the crying girl to leave. Once they are alone, Lucy sits down, coldly flipping through the ruined contract. She mutters that she will explain everything to the Lewis family. Wang scoffs, her eyes locking onto the dark, exhausted circles under Lucy's eyes with a look of pure disgust. With a smirk, she sneers. Explain. Trust me, you and I know he wants blood, not explanations. Alright, you and I are about to watch one incredibly arrogant CEO get the most satisfying reality check of her entire life. Lucy smirks, asking how they should handle this mess, but Secretary Wang is not playing around, flashing a cold, polite smile. She demands they end the partnership. Lucy must compensate Mr. Lewis for all losses, issue a public apology, and pay massive penalty fees. Lucy looks down at the files, scoffing that the Lewis family has not even used any of these materials yet. She slams the folder shut, suggesting a compromise where the Lewis family keeps the defective goods while her company refunds just half the deposit. She claims this saves everyone cash and avoids shipping hassles, calling it a perfect win-win for both sides. Secretary Wang slowly claps with pure sarcasm, praising Lucy for her brilliant plan. She then asks why she thinks none of the goods were used for 6 whole months. It is not a matter of usability. The Lewis family only operates at a high-end luxury standard. They select only the finest materials. Selling trash to elite clients would be digging their own professional grave. Her face turns ice cold as she declares her proposal is the only option. Giving Lucy 3 days to think, she snatches the contract right out of her hands. If they do not see real sincerity in 3 days, their next meeting will be in a courtroom. Now pay attention, because here is where Lucy tries to pull a major power move to save herself, arrogantly asking if she even has authority. Lucy stares at the secretary with smug disdain. Secretary Wang freezes, slowly turning around to face the delusional CEO on the couch. Her eyes narrow as she demands to know what Lucy implies. Unbothered, Lucy pours herself a cup of water and takes a slow sip. She boasts about the close ties between their families, proudly declaring herself the fiancée of the powerful Mason Miller. She asks if Mr. Lewis even knows about this attack. Hearing Lucy speak with such misplaced confidence, the secretary finds it absolutely hilarious. The secretary admits she almost feels pity for her. It turns out Lucy is fully aware of the shady dealings behind this entire project. She worked tirelessly to secure this deal, but did she ever consider that her luck would eventually run out? You vouch for her in front of Chairman Lewis, yet she let her subordinates ruin the goods just so her friend could climb the corporate ladder using your resources. They will happily throw you under the bus the very moment things go wrong. If Chairman Lewis acts on this, their partnership is over, and the strong bond between the Millers and the Lewis family will suffer a massive blow. Secretary Wang truly cannot comprehend what you ever saw in a woman like Lucy, recalling the wedding invitation and the urgent phone calls from 2 days ago. Her smile widens as she tells Lucy that her authority is none of her concern. Lucy should stop worrying about her and instead focus on figuring out how she's going to raise those massive penalty funds. The second the office door clicks shut, Lucy completely snaps, violently sweeping everything off her desk onto the floor in a rage. Let's check out the drama outside her door, where the assistants are frantically scrambling to clean up her mess. With the head secretary's desk completely empty, their frustrated complaints are easily heard slipping through the cracks of the door. They complain about cleaning up Harry's massive mess, wondering why his brother Ethan is not doing the hard work himself. Sorting through years of warehouse files would take all night, but another assistant quickly warns them to keep their voices down. If Lucy or Ethan hears them, they are finished. Especially since Lucy famously skipped Mason's engagement party just to be with Ethan. They mock poor Mason, laughing at how the wealthy young master of the Miller family got his girl stolen by a gold-digging nobody. Secretary Wang smirks with pure amusement at the juicy gossip, not even slowing her pace as she walks by. Clutching her folder, she steps into the elevator, amused that Lucy was just bragging about being your proud fiancé. Even the president's own staff is completely in the dark about the latest news. Nobody realized that you had actually just gotten engaged to the wealthy Smith family daughter. She admires her flawless reflection in the elevator doors. After touching up her lipstick, she smiles knowing things are getting wild. Meanwhile, across town, your beautiful new fiancée Sophia Smith is helping you into her car. The privacy partition rolls up, leaving the two of you alone in the quiet space as Sophia adjusts her dress and turns to face you. She gently suggests that you take a quick nap since you woke up so early today, while you nod honestly while massaging your incredibly sore ankle. You admit you are not tired, but your foot is throbbing, so you plan to soak it in hot water to ease the pain. You wore stiff, brand new shoes all day just to look sharp, leaving your ankles covered in painful blisters as Sophia gazes down at them. Seeing how swollen it is, her expression softens and turns serious. She leans down, grabbing your foot and making you shiver at her touch. She expertly presses down on your ankle's pressure points, telling you not to move so she can massage the pain away. You lie and say it doesn't hurt, but your face is burning from pure embarrassment as she gently keeps massaging your sore ankle. Trust me, you and I can both feel the insane romantic tension building in this car as the air gets heavier. You desperately resist the urge to pull away, quickly changing the subject to thank her for everything she did for you today. Alright, you and I are jumping right into the chaos. The second he asks Sophia about their marriage certificate, he immediately wanted to facepalm and take it back. He quickly explained that he just wanted to keep his promise and she kept hers. Sophia kept working, a tiny smile flashing in her eyes. She casually replied that she knew he was a man of his word. Then she looked up, giving him a highly mysterious glance. Why was he panicking so much? He started this conversation feeling completely honest, but under her gaze, he suddenly felt incredibly guilty. Even if he was losing this mental battle, his pride would not let him back down. He lifted his chin high, refusing to give up. He claimed he wasn't panicking, because if he were, he would not have brought up the marriage certificate. Sophia countered, saying she thought a rush registration might make him uncomfortable since they only met a few days ago, but clearly she underestimated how quickly he could adapt. She admitted she was wrong, checked her watch, and noted it was past 4 p.m. She then asked if he was free tomorrow. What could he even say to that? He wanted to tell her to wait, but since he brought it up, he had to swallow his pride and nod. He agreed he was free, since he had taken 2 weeks off for his failed engagement party, leaving him with 3 days of vacation left. Sophia told him she would pick him up tomorrow. Soon after, the luxury car pulled up to the entrance of his apartment building. Sophia got out and popped the trunk to grab his old clothes and gift boxes. He reached out, feeling a bit embarrassed to let her carry them. When he offered to do it, Sophia dodged him, reminding him of his foot injury. Staring into her eyes, he suddenly remembered her massaging his ankle, making him completely freeze up. He pulled back, quietly giving in. Here is the part you and I need to watch closely. His resistance against Sophia was already totally failing. Being alone with Sophia made his brain completely shut down, so he chose to stay quiet and follow her lead. The apartment he had bought was not massive, but it was a high-end luxury complex in the city center. The surrounding gardens were beautiful, serving as a peaceful sanctuary away from the busy streets. But since joining his ex-fiancée's family, he was always working late, never having the time or energy to enjoy the view. But walking through the trees with Sophia, his anxious emotions miraculously started to melt away. He was soaking in this rare peaceful moment when Sophia suddenly stepped up beside him and softly asked if he liked it here. Taking a deep breath, he admitted that he did not. Sophia quietly chuckled, leaving him confused. Well, when someone is that gorgeous, they can get away with anything. It only made sense. Her sense of humor was definitely a bit odd. Right as they stepped into the elevator, she asked him what style he preferred. He confessed he preferred traditional Chinese garden courtyards with beautiful pavilions and towers, a peaceful place to plant flowers, raise fish, and listen to the rain. But those traditional courtyards are flawless, except maybe for being drafty. He looked down, suddenly feeling a bit suspicious. When he asked why, Sophia just carried the bags and replied her family's real estate company had just bought a massive plot of land. I know what you're thinking. These business elites really do operate on a completely different level. No wonder she is so incredibly rich. She definitely earned every cent. After saying goodbye to Sophia, he finally kicked off his shoes and walked barefoot across the warm carpet. He had to admit, her massage technique was extremely effective. The throbbing pain in his ankle had almost completely faded away. He grabbed the heavy gift bags from the table and carried them to his room to unpack. He opened his closet to grab clothes for a warm shower, only to find it completely packed with dull black, white, and gray suits. His grip tightened on the door handle. In reality, bright and vibrant colors suited him much better, making his features pop. Even back at the orphanage, the director always bought him white shirts, telling him how handsome he looked. When he returned to his family, his father tried to make amends by letting him buy any clothes he wanted, turning his closet into a literal rainbow. So when did all this darkness start? Now, everything he owned was depressing, gray, and black. Looking back, the change began the moment Ethan entered the picture. Ethan acted so weak and helpless, constantly playing the just to get a crumb of Lucy's attention. He swallowed his pride and completely changed his style. He tried so hard to become the man she wanted, completely losing his true self in the process. Meanwhile, Sophia arrived at a private club where people were partying. With faces flushed red from drinking, one of the guys stood up the moment they saw Sophia walk through the doors. They drunkenly begged her to join their game, squeezing together like sardines in a can to make some space for her on the crowded couch. Sophia ignored the drunk guy trying to grab her, coldly telling them to play by themselves before sitting down next to Penny. Penny sat in a stunning white dress that practically glowed under the dim lights, looking completely isolated from the chaotic party around them. Her corner was dead silent, looking like a scene straight out of a depressing television drama. Sophia calmly grabbed a glass and poured herself a drink. Without hesitating, she immediately blew Penny's cover, telling her to stop acting since they were alone. Penny's calm facade shattered instantly. Sophia looked at her with pure caution. Everyone kept gossiping about them being a couple, even though Sophia just got engaged. Sophia backed away, putting her foot down. She is a married woman now, and honestly, you and I love to see it. Okay, you and I are diving into a wild story of romance and revenge. Penny practically laughed in disbelief. Girls like Sophia actually bagged Mason? Glaring at Sophia, she downed her glass of wine to cope. Seriously, how did she score such a massive win? For years, Sophia had absolutely zero interest in dating anyone. Even Penny thought she just hated men entirely. But the truth was an absolute shocker. She landed Mason from the languages department. Back in college, girls lining up for him literally stretched to the campus gates. Sophia just calmly shifted her posture. "What do you mean? Scored a bargain. This is called destiny," Penny scoffed. "Destiny? Real destiny is when you end up at someone's house thousands of miles away without making a single mistake. I ran past Mason more than 10 times today. That was pure luck." Penny chuckled. "You are something else. If she was not so skeptical of you, she would have sacrificed herself for her family." They could easily trace that answer back to find evidence and check the bar surveillance. Yet, they remained totally clueless about the truth. But that cold, ruthlessly efficient tactic was classic Sophia Smith. Seize the moment and defeat your opponent in one strike. Sophia ignored the heavy sarcasm entirely. She nodded like it was an absolute law of the universe. "I have always been great at that." She took the praise but hated talking about her love life. She finished her drink in one massive gulp and set the glass down. Her sharp eyes quickly scanned the crowd of drunk people stumbling toward them. Do these people seriously have this much free time? Penny and Sophia shared a quick look. Penny grabbed the glass from the table, poured another round, and watered down Sophia's cup. Lounging lazily on the sofa, she complained that Sophia needed to use some of that husband-catching energy to focus on their actual club. "It is not just that they suddenly joined. I did not even know a live stream event was happening. We literally run this studio together, so why am I the only one stressing out here?" Sophia just glared back coldly. Decades of friendship helped Penny instantly translate Sophia's icy stare. "Do you really have the right to mention Mason?" Penny shut up immediately. "Let us raise our glasses and toast to Sophia." She slowly straightened her clothes, announcing she was done drinking because her husband might worry. "You guys have fun. Put it on my card." Penny was speechless. Showing up just to brag and run away? If she could win a fight, she would scratch her face. As she watched Sophia stand up to leave, Penny quickly tried to stop her. "Our partner wants both of us to join the upcoming live stream event with Blondie. What do you think?" Back in the day, before they retired, they were all close teammates on the field. They were known as the Three Musketeers. Watch closely because this is where the hype builds up. After college, they retired, leaving poor Blondie to carry the whole studio alone. They had not gamed in ages, but social media was flooded with fans begging for a reunion. Even if a full comeback was impossible, they could still do a quick stream for nostalgia's sake. "Giving some love to our fans is a great idea," Penny argued. Sophia paused right as she reached the exit. Suddenly, old memories of her college dorm flashed. Lucy and Chloe screaming at games, blaming your slow computer, and your terrified face. A wave of sadness hit her eyes. "I am going to be extremely busy soon. I do not have plans for that." Penny watched her walk away and rolled her eyes. Honestly, she had rolled her eyes more today than in her entire life combined. She mocked Sophia's exact tone, dripping with heavy sarcasm. "Oh, I am so busy lately. We work at the same office, girl. I know your schedule." "Are you kidding me? She is just rushing home to please her man." Classic boy crazy behavior. Meanwhile, you stepped out of the bathroom, drying your wet hair. An hour had slipped by, and the sunset outside was stunning. You decided to skip the blow dryer. Instead, you grabbed a book and sat on the balcony, letting your hair air dry. Suddenly, your phone screen lit up on the table with a text from a totally unknown number. You grabbed the phone, opened the message, and walked out to the balcony. It was a very short text with a picture attached. "Look at Sister Lucy's new watch. Pretty, right?" The photo only showed a wrist wearing a PC Philippe watch. It was clearly from Ethan. You blocked him on WeChat last time, so he resorted to a burner number. You sneered. This guy was like an annoying, lingering ghost. You and I both know his games are exhausting. Ignoring the drama, you opened WeChat out of habit. There, you saw a message from your assistant, Sam, sent an hour ago. "Mr. Mason, our big family projects have run into a major issue. Can you ask Mr. Lewis to answer his phone? You were always the one handling these deals." But Uncle Lewis seemed totally fine when you saw him today. What could have gone wrong? You quickly typed back, asking what happened. Sam must have been glued to his screen. Instantly, the typing bubble popped up. It flashed a few times, but only a single sentence appeared. "Just a minor issue. We just need Mr. Lewis on the phone." Clearly, they were hiding something. You immediately opened the company group chat. The chat was dead silent. People were just slacking off and joking. It was obvious Lucy was keeping the bad news a secret. You easily guessed who was behind this, with Ethan manipulating things. Even though they played small petty tricks, they usually stayed away from big projects. His useless brother probably caused this entire mess. Harry was the warehouse manager. Suddenly, your heart clenched with worry. The warehouse manager job is not huge, but if they mess up the inventory, it could ruin everything. You squeezed your phone tight. Knowing Lucy was still protecting Harry made you want to cut ties with the Lancaster family even faster. "Trust me, you and I are going to love this petty revenge." Sam texted again, asking if you were there. You replied, "Since it is a minor issue, I will handle it when I return from my vacation." Get ready, because you and I are about to watch our main character completely shut down his boss and cozy up with a book. He needs help but wants to keep it hidden. Too bad for him, because there is no such thing as a free ride. Besides, seeing Uncle Lewis looking so relaxed was incredibly reassuring. It was clear his family was not in any real danger at all. Let Lucy and Sam handle their own mess. After all, they were cheering loudly enough when they first brought Harry into the business. Now that things have crashed, she can clean up her own disaster. High up in the skyscraper office of the Lancaster Group, Lucy stood by the massive glass windows, staring east toward our main character's neighborhood. Behind her, Assistant Sam stood in tense silence. Chief Executive Officer Lucy, we do not have enough cash to cover the Lewis family's massive hole. We owe $800 million over 6 months, plus penalties. Even if we scramble for funds, we are still short by half. For some reason, the Lewis family is showing absolutely zero mercy this time. Their friendly secretary suddenly turned incredibly hostile, treating us like absolute garbage. They will not even give us a few extra days to pay. Pay attention here. If they do not pay within 3 days, their massive scam of selling defective trash as premium products will be exposed to the entire world. A lawsuit is coming, and once the scandal breaks, every single one of our business partners will turn on us. At that point, refunding a few $100 million will not even begin to fix the damage. Our reputation will be completely destroyed, and future partners will avoid us like the plague. Saving ourselves right now is basically an impossible task. Both Sam and Lucy knew how bad this was. After a tense moment, Sam muttered that they still could not reach Mason. He admitted they technically got in touch, making Lucy spin around to ask what he actually meant by that. Sam carefully explained that since Lucy had banned him from mentioning Harry to Mr. Mason, the guy just said he would handle everything after his vacation was over. Lucy glared at him, colder than ice. Message him right now. Get him to this office. Sam tried to speak, but she sharply cut him off, demanding he do it immediately. The poor assistant winced, admitting that Mason was completely ignoring texts and refusing to answer his calls. She felt utterly powerless. Her anger was burning hot, but she had absolutely nowhere to direct her rage. Glaring at Sam, she grabbed her own phone and dialed Mason directly. As the line rang, she begged him under her breath not to hang up, but nobody answered. Her face went dark with frustration. What is he even doing? She turned to Sam, demanding to know if contacting Mason had always been this impossible. Growing up together, Mason was always the one chasing after her. She had almost never been the one to reach out first. This was her first time getting locked out of his life. Sam quickly replied that usually, Mr. Mason is the busy director of the business department. His phone is packed with clients and active 24/7. It used to be so easy to call him, but under Lucy's terrifying gaze, Sam just bowed his head, too frightened to speak. Losing all her patience, Lucy snatched her jacket off the couch and stormed out of the room. Sam rushed to keep up, frantically asking where she was going when they still had a massive corporate crisis to hide from the board and the chairman. And trust me, we both know she is not going to like what she finds. Suddenly, her phone rang, and Sam's face lit up with hope. He figured it was Mr. Mason, since the guy always adored Lucy and would never ignore her. He was positive he called back the moment he saw her message. Lucy froze, staring down at the vibrating screen. Sam rushed over, eager for good news. If Mr. Mason could help, their massive corporate disaster might actually be solved. If Mr. Mason spoke to Chairman Lewis on her behalf, all their problems would vanish. But as Sam finished speaking, he noticed Lucy's aura becoming incredibly cold and terrifying. She clenched the device so hard, her knuckles turned white. Sam quickly looked away. The screen was still flashing, but the name on the caller identification was Ethan, not Mason. Sam's hopeful expression instantly died. He froze and quietly backed away, desperately trying to make himself invisible. Watching out of the corner of his eye, he saw Lucy just stare at the ringing phone for a long time. Right before it went to voicemail, she swiped to answer. He could not hear the other side, but her face looked entirely frozen. She coldly acknowledged him, saying she understood he just wanted to relax and get some fresh air. Meanwhile, our main character was asleep on his balcony chair. When he woke up, the sun had already set, leaving only the dim glow of the city lights to guide him. Checking his phone, he saw it was past 10 p.m. There were several missed calls, and almost all of them were from Sam. The final missed call was from Lucy about 8 hours ago, followed by a text notification. He realized she only called because of the Lewis family crisis. He had certainly stirred up a massive storm for them. Smiling to himself, he turned off his phone and walked to the kitchen, where he noticed some instant noodles waiting on the shelf. Deciding to cook, he grabbed his phone to set a timer, but a call suddenly flashed across the screen. It was Lucy again. He wanted to ignore it, but since he was technically still her employee, he hesitated for 2 seconds and picked it up. Silence filled the line. Even without seeing her, he could picture her angry, desperate face as she finally whispered his name. She finally speaks in a raspy voice, but his cold reply, brilliant. You and I can tell this guy is completely done with her. Alright, you and I are diving right into the drama as she demands to know why you have been totally ignoring her calls lately. Why did you skip her engagement party when you knew she was coming back? Why did you ignore her calls after she humbled herself to reach out to you? Honestly, Lucy had a million angry questions ready to throw your way. But when it actually came time to speak, she could only choke out one stiff sentence. Your answer? You were busy, phone was silent, and you missed it. It was the exact same cheap excuse Lucy used to brush you off for years. Today, you finally served her a taste of her own medicine. Lucy sighed, claiming she knew you were still angry and that it was her fault. She said she could apologize, but personal issues should not affect work. Since the party was over, you needed to handle the Louis Swiss family projects again. Your remaining vacation was cancelled, and you had to report to her office. But you just stared at the boiling water, quietly stirring your noodles. Not tomorrow, you replied, since you had plans. Lucy sighed with heavy impatience, snapped your name, Mason, and demanded you take this serious matter seriously. She told you to stop throwing a tantrum and acting so unreasonably. The sheer absurdity of her words almost made you laugh out loud in anger. Just as you were about to snap back, a soft, sweet male voice echoed from her end of the line, calling out for Sister Lucy. Lucy instantly turned cold and impatient, telling you to be there at 9 a.m. sharp tomorrow, or else you never had to show up again. She hung up right after throwing that threat. You stared at your silent screen for 2 seconds, repeating her words about never coming back. Now, pay attention here. That threat actually made you smile. Any lingering nerves about marrying Sophia tomorrow instantly vanished, leaving you completely determined to go. Meanwhile, over at the historic Smith family estate, a gorgeous woman dressed in black silk sat quietly behind a massive wooden desk. A thick pile of property deeds lay spread across the table. Her assistant, Xavier, stood nearby, carefully cross-referencing each paper with digital floor plans. After sorting through the massive pile, Xavier presented 2 choices, asking CEO Smith to take a look. Xavier placed the brochures and deeds side by side in front of Sophia, explaining that the first option was a sleek, modern Chinese villa. The other was an ancient Beijing courtyard house. Looking over the blueprints, Sophia could not stop thinking about how you mentioned wanting a Yang-Nong garden style. She quickly bypassed the modern villa and focused entirely on the courtyard blueprints. She actually remembered this specific property quite well. It was a coming-of-age gift from her late grandfather, a beautiful 3-section courtyard that once belonged to a wealthy Qing dynasty official. The entire design showcased a timeless Suzhou garden style. Tapping her finger on the document, she declared that this was the one. She ordered it to be cleaned tomorrow. Xavier glanced briefly at the screen, trying to understand her boss. Xavier did not get why her boss was hunting for houses at midnight, but she knew that nodding politely was always the best move. She quickly gathered the rest of the paperwork and slipped out of the room. Once alone, Sophia sighed and rubbed her temples. Looking at the chosen deed, she quietly wondered if the ancient style would suit your taste. Her eyes were fixed on the paper, but her mind was already drifting far away. Honestly, she had not planned on getting the marriage certificate this quickly, but she knew that Lucy was finally back in Beijing. Even if Lucy was no match for her, your long history together meant a sudden run-in could easily stir up old, buried emotions. She did not want you to regret meeting Lucy again, and trust me, you and I know why sealing this marriage immediately was her best move. She worried that you might find her actions too sudden and rushed. Unlocking her phone, she hesitantly pulled up your chat conversation. Her fingers hovered over the screen, unable to type a single word. But right in the middle of her hesitation, a new notification suddenly popped up from you. A photo of steaming hot noodles topped with a perfectly fried egg immediately caught her attention. It looked incredibly warm and comforting. Below it, your text read, "I am getting our marriage certificate tomorrow, so remember to pick me up." Sophia just stared, slowly tracing her fingers over your words. She paused to think, then typed out a very serious and direct reply. But feeling that a single word was too cold, she quickly added another line, telling you to eat and rest well because she would arrive at 8 a.m. Then, she opened your noodle photo, zoomed in to look closer, saved it to her favorites, and finally closed her phone with a smile. She flipped her phone over and muttered that your favorite flavor had not changed after all these years. By 7 a.m. the next morning, your internal biological clock, built from years of office life, woke you up right on schedule. After quickly washing your dishes, you headed downstairs, intentionally arriving 10 minutes early. To your surprise, Sophia's car was already waiting. She stepped in, buckled her seatbelt, and turned to ask if you had eaten breakfast yet. You shook your head, and Sophia looked at you with those familiar, gentle eyes. She reached into the back and handed you a bag of hot meat buns and fresh soy milk. She said she bought them on her way and hoped you would like them. Opening the bag, the warm aroma of fresh bread immediately filled the car. She told you to eat up, noting that since today was not a holiday, the Civil Affairs Bureau would likely be completely empty. The registration went incredibly fast. Watching the official seals stamped down on the papers, you felt a strange mix of lingering sadness and deep, overwhelming relief. Holding that small red booklet in your hands, you realized you were officially Sophia Smith's husband from this moment on. Walking away from Lucy did not hurt nearly as much as you once feared. Outside the Civil Affairs Bureau, another young couple's car was temporarily blocking the exit. While waiting, Sophia held up her phone and red booklet, asking if you wanted a photo. Honestly, you and I cannot wait to see where this new life leads them. Alright, you and I are jumping right into a scene where our guy is acting like a human selfie stick for his gorgeous new wife, who is snapping photos of their marriage certificates. She opens Weibo right away, making him wonder if she's just going to share this with family or on WeChat. But seeing her open, Weibo makes him panic. Does she not realize how famous she is? Her massive fan base is definitely going to lose their minds over this. She is a retired esports legend with millions of followers and the most prized granddaughter of the wealthy Smith family. Dropping a marriage announcement will literally break the internet, and he's terrified her obsessed male fans will track him down. She instantly senses his sudden panic. She mutters that he probably doesn't want her posting on Weibo. He blinks, only managing to stammer that it might be too high profile. But then he remembers their deal. Sophia explicitly wanted a very public husband to shut down industry rumors, appease her demanding family, and reassure all their major business partners. So, the more dramatic and public their marriage is, the better. Besides, it's just a simple photo the red certificate covers. He tells her it won't affect him and that she should post it. Sophia just stares at him in silence for 2 long seconds. She looks back down at her phone, pouty and visibly disappointed, muttering that maybe she just shouldn't use Weibo anymore. She repeats that it's fine not to post, claiming it has no impact, before finally starting the car as traffic clears up. She keeps repeating that it doesn't matter, but she's absolutely radiating disappointment and heavy accusation, making him feel like the absolute worst guy alive. He was basically a total villain. Now here is where it gets crazy with her about to drive away. Our main character finally cracks under pressure and blurts out that she can actually post it. But Sophia doesn't move the car. She just turns her head and stares deeply, trying to see if he's actually lying to her again. Under her incredibly sad and reproachful gaze, he feels exactly like a notorious con artist who just tricked a poor girl into a fake marriage. He was the one who asked for her help. Now that his problem is solved, it's her turn. And yet he's here making excuses, taking all the benefits while playing innocent. Hit with a massive wave of guilt, he softly tells her she can post it. Sophia's sad expression finally softens as she asks if it's really okay. He nods frantically like a chick pecking at rice. To show his absolute resolve, he hands her phone back, telling her to post it immediately. Sophia finally takes the device, quickly types out a caption, attaches the perfect photo, and hits send. She announces she sent it, and he nods in relief as she finally starts the car and drives out of the lot. Just as he feared, the second she posts to Weibo, her phone starts buzzing like crazy with endless notifications. Even though she retired years ago, her massive and active fan base immediately floods the post with thousands of comments. You and I probably expected angry fan backlash, right? Well, think again because their focus was completely skewed. Instead of being mad, they are intensely curious about what kind of legendary warrior could actually conquer her famously icy heart, sharing a long list of her savage quotes online. He glances over at Sophia, realizing this is her true reputation. He suddenly recalls her legendary campus confession wall posts. Her online persona was a cold, untouchable goddess. While he's lost in thought, Sophia smoothly spins the wheel and parks her black Bentley along the roadside. She looks down at her phone, fully aware of all the teasing comments the internet is throwing at them. Looking at him intently, she asks if she is different from how he imagined her. He can only nod in honest agreement. She leans in close, staring directly into his eyes, asking if he wants to know her real self. Looking at her so close, his heart beats wildly. It feels like a physical blow to his chest, making him completely zone out on her words as he just nods like an idiot. Sophia holds out her pinky for a pinky promise. He stares at her hand, totally bewildered. He hasn't done a pinky promise since kindergarten, but her slender, perfect fingers are an absolute weakness for him. Muttering that it's too tempting, he dizzily reaches out to hook his pinky with hers, finding it incredibly soft. Sophia pulls her hand back, starts the car, and announces that since he agreed, they will start with a game at her club's massive event in a few days. He's still daydreaming about the soft touch of her hand when her words finally register, making his eyes snap wide open in shock. A game? He is a legendary black hole at gaming. But before he can ask, his phone suddenly rings in his pocket. Pulling it out, he sees Assistant Sam on the screen, likely demanding a major explanation, so he swipes to answer. Sam's panicked voice begs to know where he is, warning him that CEO Lucy is absolutely furious while he is supposedly on vacation. He tells Sam to call back when he is back in the office and tries to hang up, but Sam's voice is literally shaking with anxiety. Sam warns him that with Lucy's explosive temper, he definitely doesn't want her showing up at his house looking for him. His hand freezes over the end call button. Knowing Lucy, she is 100% capable of doing exactly that. He quietly whispers that he understands. Instead of letting her find his house and cause a massive scene, he decides to go directly to the company. He decides to use this chance to pack up his things, sheepishly asking Sophia to drive him to the Lancaster company. And that is where we leave them, speeding off in total silence. Trust me, you are going to want to see what happens when they arrive. Alright, you and I are jumping right into a mess because Sophia is clearly ticked off. The vibe is totally different now, probably because of Lucy. Let's be real, his past with Lucy caused a massive public scandal. Now that he is with Sophia, it is definitely time to say goodbye to the past and keep his distance. But on the very day they got their marriage certificate, he was rushing back to the company to see Lucy. Sophia's anger made total sense. He gripped his phone tightly and quietly explained that he was only going to Lancaster for work. He promised her he would stay far away from Lucy from now on, ensuring they would never tarnish the Smith family name. Sophia just stared straight ahead in silence, but he noticed a tiny, delicate line faintly twitching at the corner of her eye. Without paying close attention, he would have missed it completely. Clutching his phone, he suddenly remembered his old college days. An old friend's warning about Sophia echoed in his head. She seemed totally normal and freezing cold on the surface, but her eyes were actually incredibly pure. He didn't believe it back then, especially since the line of guys chasing after Sophia in college could easily circle the entire campus 3 times over. Yet in 4 whole years, not a single guy could win over this cold academic genius. Now, he was starting to believe it. She really was easy to soothe. With that, he stepped into the Lancaster family lobby. The downstairs receptionist saw him and immediately jumped up to press the elevator button. "Director Mason, you are finally here. Assistant Sam has been begging for you all day." He nodded with a polite smile, thanking her for the message, before stepping straight into the elevator as the doors opened. As he stepped out, Assistant Sam was chewing out some juniors. But pay attention here, because the moment Sam saw him, his eyes lit up. "Director Mason, you're finally here." CEO Lucy is absolutely furious in her office. He shrugged, looking at the crying assistants. He raised his chin, asking what happened. Sam whispered that a few of them had leaked top company secrets. CEO Lucy wanted to pay them 3 months of salary and immediately fire them. But he knew hiring brand new assistants on short notice would never be as efficient as keeping experienced ones around. "Just leave them. Do you really think Ethan can replace the whole team? How much power does he actually have?" Sam knew he was right. He could only offer a forced smile, muttering about CEO Lucy's legendary bad temper. He begged him to put in a good word for him. He just gave Sam a knowing look. They were clearly using him as a scapegoat for Lucy's explosive anger. Without saying another word, he walked right past Sam and gently knocked on the president's office door. Even through the thick door, Lucy's furious screams echoed. He simply turned the knob, and the moment it opened, a flying coffee cup was thrown right at his head. It shattered right at his feet, splashing warm coffee all over his pants and leaving ugly brown stains. Completely shocked by this sudden attack, he stumbled back, balancing himself against the door frame. But the moment Lucy realized it was him, she stood up instantly, anxiety and regret flashing in her eyes. "Why you? I know what you are thinking." But Ethan was right there, analyzing Lucy's face. He quickly hid his secret joy, putting on a show of deep concern. "Director Mason, are you okay?" He grabbed his wrist tightly and spoke with fake affection. "Sister Lucy is just having a terrible day. It was not aimed at you. Please do not misunderstand." As he spoke, he raised his wrist to show off his shiny new watch. Hearing Ethan speak, Lucy immediately remembered how cold and stubborn he had been to her over the past few days. The guilt in her eyes vanished instantly. She sat back down, telling Ethan to leave and just ignore him entirely. Ethan obediently nodded his head. Right before walking out, safe from Lucy's view, he flashed a smug, provoking glare. In the past, this kind of cheap provocation would have broken his heart completely, even behind his calm face. But now, after everything, Ethan's pathetic little performance was nothing more than a hilarious joke to him. It couldn't trigger a single emotion anymore. The door quietly shut behind him. Brushing the coffee dust off his pants, he took a few steps forward and calmly asked how he could help. Lucy just closed her eyes and massaged her temples in frustration. Exhausted from the past few days, she had zero energy left to deal with him. Apparently, the joint project between the Lancasters and Lewises is falling apart. "You already know about this, right? Since you always handle the Lewis family, I am handing this over to you. Do you have any objections?" "CEO Lucy, tell me what went wrong first. If it is my responsibility, I obviously won't say no." The moment he said that, you could feel Lucy's entire aura freeze. She dropped her hands, stared up at him, and muttered that the warehouse sent the wrong items. "It is no big deal. Just call Mr. Lewis, ask for some more time, and I will handle it." Saying this, she felt a massive wave of relief. She was fully convinced that with his help, the Lewis family wouldn't blow this up. Out of respect for his family, they would never expose this scandal publicly. The tension on Lucy's face melted away, totally convinced he would never reject her request. But he firmly shook his head. "CEO Lucy, you must have completely forgotten. The warehouse is not under my responsibility. You should talk to manager Harry instead. If this were truly a minor issue, you and assistant Sam wouldn't have been calling me like it was an absolute life-or-death emergency. Besides, back at the engagement party, Uncle Louis had directly asked him if he and Lucy were actually dating. He knew exactly what Uncle Louis was planning. Lucy was in the wrong, and Louis was going to make things incredibly difficult for her. So what do you and I take from this? Stepping in now would only ruin his relations with Uncle Louis. Hearing his rejection, Lucy frowned. This project was your job from the start, so why shouldn't you fix it now that everything is ruined? Plus, you know Harry is completely clueless. You just stare at Lucy, her face twisted with annoyance, realizing she always defends her precious favorite boy, Ethan, the moment something goes wrong. You and I both know this painful feeling. They never hesitate to dump all the blame right onto your shoulders. Suddenly, you realize how much garbage you have tolerated for years. It was pathetic, and honestly, you just burst out laughing. So, even the boss knows Harry is clueless. Then why on earth did you give him such a high position? Lucy gapes at you in absolute shock. Are you actually blaming me? I am just asking for a single phone call to Mr. Louis, a tiny favor. Since when are you so petty? But you are just stating facts. When she put Harry in charge of the warehouse, everyone told her to think twice. You abused your power for personal gain and acted alone. Now that a mistake happened, you need to face the music. I am not helping. I only came to tell you one thing. I am resigning as the director of the business department at Lancaster immediately. Since you joined through a special program and bypassed human resources completely, you do not even need a formal resignation letter to walk out the door. Just telling Lucy is enough. She snaps. What did you say? No more director. What do you want instead? To be my secretary? Even after all this time, you are still obsessed with Ethan. You try to ruin him and kick him out of Lancaster every chance you get. Mason, please, can we just stop making a massive scene? I am genuinely so tired. You have everything, so why fight with Ethan? If I fire him to make room for you, how is he supposed to survive? Watch closely right here. You can see Lucy's arrogant expression completely freeze up as you drop the hammer. Have you actually thought this through? Leaving is easy, but coming back will be impossible. Ethan and I have never crossed any lines. How many times do I have to say this before you believe me? Ethan literally saved my life, so I treat him like a brother. You are my fiancé. You will still be my husband. If you cannot even understand this simple thing, our marriage is going to be incredibly hard to maintain. In your opinion, what actually counts as crossing the line? You snap back. His job, my houses, his cars, his clothes, even his brother's career. Which of his problems did you not solve? Is it only crossing the line if you get caught red-handed in bed? She screams your name. Lucy roars, do not push me. Push you? You actually have the nerve to say that? Are you afraid of the truth? Over the years, because of Ethan, how many times did you cancel our dates over the phone? Even I have lost count. Fiancé, do not insult that word. You threw our sunny days away for him. The moment you abandoned me to run to Shanghai for Ethan, we were finished. After dropping that final truth bomb, you turn and walk straight out. Lucy watches you walk away, her calm expression completely cracking as a sudden wave of panic rises inside her chest. It feels like a heavy weight is suffocating her. She knows she should speak up, telling herself that you are just being completely unreasonable. I know what you're thinking. Will she stop him? Nope. She just silently watches you disappear from sight. The rage inside her is absolutely boiling over. Finally snapping, she swings her arm, sweeping every single thing off her desk onto the floor. A blue crystal bear pendant shatters in half on the floor. The broken head of the toy seems to mock her with a cold sneer. Assistant Sam is waiting outside with a forced smile. Mr. Mason, did you resolve the issue with the boss? You calmly reply, it is done. I have dealt with Lucy. With that, you walk past Sam toward the elevator as he scrambles to catch up with you. Did you mention our issue to the boss? Under Sam's watchful eyes and the nervous glares of the staff, you calmly press the elevator button. No, Sam, whether it is the warehouse or the office, none of it has anything to do with me anymore. From now on, the Lancaster family is not my problem. I resigned. Sam feels like his brain just completely short-circuited. Why would Mr. Mason resign? He was supposed to run this entire family empire in the future. Where could he even go after leaving them? Before Sam can process this, the elevator doors open with a ding. Chloe steps out with her phone, while everyone else just stares. She sneers sarcastically, "Oh, Mr. Mason finally decided to grace us with his presence." You completely ignore her and step inside. As the doors close, you just give Chloe a deadpan look. She stomps her foot in anger. Look at him. He is not even her husband yet. Why is he so arrogant? He's going to ruin whatever feelings Sister Lucy has left. He always walks around acting so superior. He is no fun. No wonder Sister Lucy ditched him for Ethan. But after screaming, she realizes the entire floor is dead silent. She finally senses something is wrong. Turning around, she sees Sam looking completely dazed, while several assistants are literally crying tears. The office is in tears. Only Ethan looks relatively normal, his face showing a mix of surprise and absolute joy. Chloe waves a hand in front of Sam's face. What is going on? You all look like you have seen a ghost. Sam just brushes her hand away in annoyance. With panic in his voice, he says, Mr. Mason resigned. Chloe's face freezes, all the happy energy in the room instantly vanishing. Sam points with a shaking hand toward the boss's office. The moment Chloe steps inside, she is greeted by absolute, total chaos. Everything from the desk is scattered on the floor. Even her precious blue crystal pendant, normally kept so safe, is snapped completely in half. Trust me, you and I have never seen her this enraged. Stick around, because this payback is only getting started. Alright, you and I are jumping right into a mess. Chloe wanted to run, but instead, she stepped over the glass. Lucy, Mason is gone. What about the Louisville family? Lucy looked up with bloodshot eyes. Why does everyone think I can't survive without him? Chloe panicked, shaking her head. No way. How is that even possible? It is obvious Mason can't live without you. But the Louisville project won't wait. One of our 3 days is already gone. Where are we going to find $800 million? Just swallow your pride, convince him to come back, and punish him after we handle the Louisville family. Lucy snatched up her jacket and threw it right at Chloe. Get out. Get lost. She screamed repeatedly. Lucy looked terrifying, and it was all Chloe's fault. Still, the banter helped lighten the mood. But Lucy remembered his words the moment she went to find Ethan. Their connection was dead. No way, Chloe laughed. I bet you anything he will come crawling back home in less than 3 days. He acted so tough, but he won't accomplish a thing. He's just incredibly jealous of Ethan. These words instantly put a smile back on Lucy's face. Lucy leaned back on the couch, closing her eyes as the anger slowly drained away. Seeing Lucy calm down, Chloe whispered, should we officially kick out Ethan and Harry? President Lewis always treated Mason like family, yet he made such a harsh move today. He must be absolutely furious with those brothers over this mess. Our main goal right now is keeping the Lewis family happy. We can always bring Ethan back secretly later, but we have to save ourselves first. Chloe had planned this from the start. Honestly, Chloe liked Ethan, but she despised his useless brother. Lucy had done way too much for them, yet Harry actually dared to mess with their business. If they don't teach them a lesson now, they will cause massive disasters in the future. Just hearing Harry's name made Lucy shake her head in disgust. Kicking him out is not enough. Make him return every cent, then dump him into a security guard job. Chloe agreed. But Ethan is the real root of all this trouble. If Ethan hadn't been so terribly spoiled, his brother would have never set foot in our company, let alone had the guts to forge data for huge shipments of goods. Lucy sat in deep thought. This has nothing to do with Ethan. I will fix it. Besides, didn't Mason throw a tantrum and quit just because of his petty jealousy over Ethan? I will keep using Ethan to teach him a lesson about his attitude. Chloe sighed, realizing Lucy was just being stubborn. She is doing this to compete with you, Mason. She always does this. Usually, you would back down when things got tough, but this time is completely different. Chloe tried to talk some sense into her, but Lucy cut her off. Get out. Meanwhile, down in the office, you were quietly packing your things. Your desk was full, but as you packed, you realized almost everything belonged to the company. The only actual personal items were a simple mug and some drip coffee. You tossed them straight in the trash. Now watch closely as you unlock your drawer and pull out a secret file. This was a huge project you secured through your brother long before the engagement. It was meant to be a special gift for Lucy, but now it was completely useless. You fed the document into the shredder, watching it get destroyed piece by piece. The sales staff walked over, completely confused. Director Mason, why did you throw away your mug? I have resigned. A new boss will arrive shortly to guide you. I hate dramatic goodbyes, so there is no need to see me out. With that, you walked to the elevator, only to spot Ethan standing there in a fancy suit, looking like a smug sausage. His eyes oozed smug triumph. Mason, you lost. Who cares if you were born into some fancy noble family? So, what if you were handsome? You stayed by her side for years, only to end up as a discarded blanket. Now you get kicked out like a dog. You stared at him, thinking about how much people change. Look at Ethan, for instance. And Lucy too. Did you wait here just to gloat? You see, I didn't lose to you. I only lost to Lucy's ridiculous arrogance and fatal flaws. She just loves the convenience your status brings. On one hand, she acts like she gave up too much, pretending to be a fragile flower relying on you. So, she promoted Ethan, using his fake gentleness to look down on you. She wanted to play games and put herself on a pedestal. That old life-saving debt was just a convenient excuse she used to dodge your questions. She loves no one but herself. If I lost to someone else, fine. But looking at Ethan, you and I can see he is just her puppet. It was like watching a tragic repeat of the past. Peak self-manipulation. You graduated from an elite university. 2. You had a bright future ahead of you. Why throw your youth away on a woman who doesn't care? Ethan used to be a sharp, hard-working guy you don't climb from a poor mountain village to Beijing without brains. But when did guys like him become so utterly pathetic? Even Assistant Sam knew the board had fired those people. Ethan couldn't take it anymore, but had he still not realized his mistake? During his time here, he had not improved at all. Honestly, he got worse, and his once sharp mind had completely rotted away. If Lucy actually cared about him, he wouldn't be a mere punching bag. Useless, good for nothing. Ethan's face completely froze. His face turned incredibly ugly. Mason, it is just the two of us. Who are you trying to fool with this nice guy act? You are the rich young master of the Miller family. With them backing you, you can look down on me like an ant. No matter how much you mess up, someone always protects you. But I have nothing. I have to fight and shamelessly grab whatever I can get. Besides, you are leaving, not me. I don't need your pity. Good luck to you. Stick with me to see what happens next. Alright, you and I are diving right into this wild story. After walking out of the Lancaster office, you wait under a tree until a flashing red Ferrari pulls up. Wyatt slides his shades off, waving from the driver's seat. Hey there, handsome. You waiting for someone? Come on, little bro. Jump in for a ride. You slide into the passenger seat, totally miserable. Let's hit the mall and blow off some steam. Wyatt doesn't even ask questions. He tosses his shades in the back and slams the gas like a maniac. You hold on tight, trying not to fly out. Finally, you guys hit the mall and shop till you drop. It definitely helps clear your head. Afterward, you treat Wyatt to some hot pot, and he drops a piece of beef right onto your plate. Spill it, Wyatt says. Seriously, since college, you have only worn dark, boring clothes. It is like you were living like a complete monk. You take a bite and quietly explain the truth. I only wore those dark clothes because they matched Lucy's taste. But that does not matter anymore. Wyatt laughs. Man, Sophia really deserves her goddess title. You two just got engaged, and she's already changing your life. She cured your years of love sickness in a day. He leans in closer, whispering. So, how far have you two actually gotten? What is she, a cup or an e-cup? You literally choke on your food. Can you please not say things in such a creepy way? Sophia and I have nothing going on. Stop talking nonsense. If anyone hears you, they will think we are complete perverts. Wyatt completely loses his mind. Sophia literally posted your marriage certificate on social media, and you are still saying there is nothing going on? Now pay attention here, this is where things get really complicated. How is living apart any different from being a single monk? We haven't even talked about that yet. I barely know her, so moving in feels way too weird. Honestly, it is already crazy enough that we got married this fast. Living together as strangers would be even weirder. Hearing this, Wyatt really can't tell who is the bigger idiot in this relationship. Wait, you are living apart? Isn't that basically shouting to the entire world that your marriage is completely fake? You stare at your chopsticks, completely frozen. He actually has a point. Didn't Sophia marry you just to reassure her grandmother and business partners? If people find out you live separately, isn't the whole plan ruined? You look at Wyatt, totally speechless. But playing house without being real partners is just as bad. Wyatt sighs, looking at you with pure disappointment because you are being so clueless. Look, Sophia can't ask you to move in herself. You have to take the lead and nudge her. Before you can ask him how, your phone lights up with a text. It is from Sophia, the female lead herself, asking if you are off work. She says you did not drive today and offers to pick you up. It is exactly 12 p.m., meaning she texted you the second she got off. You reply that you sorted things with the Lancasters and are eating with Wyatt. She tells you to have fun and text her when you get home safe. You stare at her texts. Turns out, not all women are emotionally blind. Even a busy CEO like Sophia noticed you didn't have your car. Lucy never cared like this. She only saw you as an inconvenience, never checking if you made it home safe after hanging out. Let's pause and think about this for a second. When you were sick, Lucy left you on the road to catch a taxi alone. Why did you even wait for her? You had been completely blind to Lucy's cruelty, while Wyatt actually had a business to run. Taking the morning off was his limit. He tells you he will drop you home after lunch, then head back to the office to keep slaving away. Once home, you text Sophia a photo of your cactus, writing that it is good to be back. She quickly replies, saying she loves cacti. You tell her you cannot grow normal plants, and this cactus is the only survivor. You even killed famously unkillable ones like pows and hyacinths. After losing 3 of the easiest plants, only this survived. You instantly regret sharing that embarrassing fact. In the past, Lucy banned you from touching her plants after you kept them for 3 years. Now, you wonder if Sophia is secretly judging you. Sophia replies jokingly, saying she wants to hire you for her rival company. You would not even have to do any real work there. You would just have to plant some money trees there to ruin them. She then asks if you are free tonight to start that game she mentioned. The event starts tonight, but she says delaying a couple days is fine. You tell her you are free right now, and ask what you should prepare. Looking out of her massive floor-to-ceiling office windows, Sophia stares at her phone and slowly types a quick response back to you. She says there is no need to prepare anything since she has all the gear, offering to pick you up at 6 o'clock. You warn her that you do not really like gaming. Sophia reassuringly tells you not to worry. While you are having fun at the gaming event, Lucy is having a miserable time. After you quit, her stubborn pride completely backfires. To prove she does not need you, she puts her houses and cars up for sale. Desperate to raise quick cash, she spends all day hunting for buyers. But everyone tries to rip her off, and she fails to sell a single thing the entire day. Her sister Chloe tries to contact Wyatt, hoping he will buy their assets at market price so they can buy them back later. After all, Wyatt and Mason are close friends. Chloe thinks that since you will marry Lucy anyway, helping them is basically helping your own future family. But Wyatt does not even give her a chance to speak. Chloe deeply regrets making things so tense with you in the past. Left alone in the empty office, she is totally stuck, and trust me, things are only going to get worse. Alright, you and I are diving into a crazy story, starting with Chloe holding her coffee, checking her phone, only to see a sweet live stream notification from esports star Sophia. Doubt flashed in her eyes. Sophia Smith? Didn't she retire? Intrigued, Chloe glanced at the caption and quickly tapped to open the attached video. The streamer kept her face hidden, but with all the in-game gunfire and frantic chat, it was obviously Sophia. Her gameplay was pretty basic, but she explained everything with infinite patience. At the end of the video, she asked softly, "Do you remember?" Then a familiar, warm male voice replied, "I remember." Hearing that voice made Chloe choke, coughing violently as her coffee went down the wrong pipe. She thought she heard it wrong since it sounded identical to Mason. The next clip was from another stream, this time from the guy's perspective. In this longer video, he barely spoke, only saying, "Really? Thanks. I have a smoke grenade. I blocked their view, so follow me." He claimed he was bad, saying smoke grenades make it safer to escape when crowded, but isn't the ultimate goal of this game to survive as the last one standing? "This is your first time winning a chicken dinner." Chloe kept replaying those few words, unable to stop. The more she listened, the more it sounded exactly like Mason. But how was that possible? He had absolutely zero connection to a superstar like Sophia Smith. Their family backgrounds were worlds apart. The mighty Smith family would never care about him, yet Chloe found herself trembling, realizing something huge was happening. She started connecting the dots. She got treated so coldly when she delivered the guest list to the Miller mansion. Mason had vanished for days, ignoring Lucy's calls. He knew she was returning on their actual engagement day, yet he held the ceremony on schedule, left without her, refused to bail out her family, and immediately resigned from his job. Now pay attention here individually. These seem like tantrums, but connected, they reveal something completely abnormal. He used to love Lucy so much, and though he had been jealous, he'd never been this furious. He never blurred the lines between work and personal life. He never brought personal drama to the office. Yet this time, with her family facing total ruin, he absolutely refused to help. Was this really just a petty tantrum? Chloe felt a sudden wave of unease wash over her. She swallowed hard, staring at her screen. She needed to warn Lucy immediately. But as she turned around, phone in hand, she froze. Several junior assistants had just been fired. The office lights were on, but the room was empty. The president's door was slightly open, and she could hear Lucy inside, crying. Chloe rushed inside and showed her the video. Lucy went pale, then flushed red, snapping, "Why are you showing me this? You think this guy is Mason?" Lucy sneered, saying he followed her around for over 10 years and was finally about to marry her. There was no way he'd walk away. Chloe gripped her chair so hard her nails nearly snapped. She thought, "I never said it was him. Can't you recognize your own man?" But she kept quiet, only muttering that she stumbled on it. She said, "I know it's not Mason, but this Mr. Smith's voice is identical. Just listen to this. It's not even just the voice. This player is a total gaming rookie, and his skill level is exactly the same as Mason's." Lucy took a shaky breath, her fingers trembling as she tapped the video. This time, her eyes were completely glued to the screen. She analyzed his every move as he used a flashbang and 2 grenades, wishing she could bring that man in the white suit with her. He threw a smoke grenade to clear a path, happily telling Sophia it was his first win. Lucy calmly watched, then declared, "This is not him." Chloe was baffled. Lucy tossed the phone aside, saying she swiped onto a different post after accidentally closing the video. "Look at this. I know what you are thinking. Who is her mysterious husband?" Well, a blogger just released a list of potential matches with evidence. The top picks were Wyatt and Michael. Wyatt got the most votes due to being active, while the low-key Michael trailed by a few thousand. Lucy instantly got her confidence back, her anxiety vanishing. She laughed. "See, I told you there was no way it was Mason." Chloe took her phone back, staring at the Weibo post. She muttered that she watched the clip twice, and Mason and Sophia made no sense. It is definitely not Mason, and the voice sounds nothing like Wyatt. Lucy tapped her fingers, declaring it must be Michael, who studied abroad during high school. He lived a completely low-key life after returning, barely appearing in public. Plus, his family and the Smiths are very close, lifelong friends. An arranged marriage with Michael made perfect sense. Chloe still felt a deep, nagging doubt, but she just couldn't explain what it was. Deciding she was overthinking, Lucy ignored Chloe's worries, grabbed her coat, and headed out, wanting to see if Mason was back home. By the time she snapped out of her daze, She was already standing right at his front door, her hand hovering over the doorbell. She raised her hand repeatedly but couldn't press it. She thought, if I ring this, I'm the one bowing my head, not him. Why should she be the one to yield? He chased her for over 10 years, and she finally agreed to marry him. What more could he possibly want? Lucy laughed bitterly. He was the one who ignored her calls, wanted to break up, and impulsively resigned from his position. If she gave in today, wouldn't he just become more arrogant? Lucy pulled her hand back, spun around, and went to her own house. She knew something was wrong as if fever took hold. Feeling completely dazed, she opened her nightstand drawer to find some fever-reducing medicine. He had been too busy preparing their engagement, and then their relationship crumbled, leaving her with no time to restock the medicine. And that's where we leave things. Trust me, you and I are going to watch this prideful girl completely regret her choices next. You and I are about to watch our proud female lead completely hit rock bottom as she collapses right against the railing. Passing out cold on the floor, Lucy groans in pain, clutching her throbbing forehead. Slowly, with massive effort, her eyes finally flutter open. She wakes up to a masked nurse in a quiet, empty private room, hooked up to an IV drip. Nobody else is there to watch over her. Seeing her wake up, the nurse kindly explains that the friend who brought her in just stepped out to grab her some high-calorie, low-sugar food. Lucy bites her pale lip, a sudden spark of hope lighting up her eyes. She had passed out at home just a little while ago. She thinks it must be you. Sure, you ignored her calls and threatened a breakup, but you still sneaked into her place late at night. In her mind, you still care. You only did this to force her submission. Otherwise, how else would you have found her collapsed there? This thought warms Lucy's cold, lonely world. A small, smug smile creeps onto her face as she makes a final decision right then. She is just waiting for you to walk back in with that food, apologize nicely, and she will pretend none of this ever happened. The wedding will proceed, and that director job is still yours. But while she is lost in these delusions, Chloe walks in carrying takeout. Sister Lucy, you are finally awake. You absolutely terrified me last night, but thank goodness I acted fast. I saw how pale you looked at the office and decided to follow you home. Otherwise, things could have ended terribly. Chloe keeps babbling on, totally missing how Lucy's expression has turned absolutely dark and thunderous. Suddenly, she realizes the boss is furious all over again. Chloe clutches her spoon, screaming on the inside. Why is this woman so impossible to please? Did they get her the wrong treatment? Lucy sits up. Now here is where the tension gets real. Lucy demands to know where he is, leaving Chloe stuttering that Mason has absolutely no idea. That is the polite excuse, but Chloe knows you are totally done. Even if you knew Lucy was burning up, you still wouldn't show. She dares not speak the truth, lying just to calm her down. Lucy convinces herself that makes sense, knowing how disciplined you usually are. She assumes you fell asleep early and simply missed the news. Otherwise, with your dedication, you would have rushed to her side instantly. With a cold glare, Lucy rips the IV line right out of her arm. Ignoring the blood, she grabs her jacket and storms out. She even snatches a cooling patch on her way out. Chloe seriously begins to wonder if the fever has completely fried Lucy's brain. Heading to the office while sick makes zero sense and will only make her worse. But really, who else is left to help her now? With a massive 100 million yuan deficit looming, her old star trader is gone. Chloe sighs and runs to catch up with her. In the back of the car, Lucy slaps the fever patch right onto the most obvious, highly visible spot on her forehead. She knows every single department has its own secret gossip channel. You are in several of them, and she has seen you reading those chats before. You do not know she is sick? Well, she is going to give you a front row seat. She is setting the stage. If you still refuse to swallow your pride after this, there is no turning back. With the patch on, she grabs her phone and opens Weibo. She does not even have to search. Updates about Sophia Smith are absolutely everywhere. 2 brand new posts just dropped, and Wyatt has officially come forward to deny everything. Turns out Sophia's secret husband is someone else entirely. An old childhood photo of her and Michael goes viral, launching a massive wave of shippers. Lucy already knew Wyatt was not the husband anyway, so she immediately skips ahead and clicks on the second trending post. A rich heir who went to preschool with Sophia posted childhood pictures, along with group videos of him and Michael back when they were trainee hosts. With Wyatt denying the rumors, the massive online poll has only just begun. You and I both know how fast rumors spread, and now netizens are universally pointing fingers at one specific person. Everyone is screaming that Michael is the secret husband. Comment sections explode, especially since the Ming company is an absolute giant in the industry. An alliance with the Smith family would be a massive power play. Lucy just calmly scrolls through the chatter. The heavy stress in her mind finally starts to fade. Closing Weibo, she opens her messaging app, only to find endless texts from Ethan. It is all just useless spam. She ignores him, scrolling all the way to the bottom to find your chat. Nothing. Since leaving for Shanghai, you have not sent her a single text. Lucy stares blankly at your profile picture as the car finally parks. Instead of taking her private elevator from the garage, Lucy makes a very deliberate detour straight through the company's front doors. The front desk is staffed by young receptionists. With easy hours and prime seating, this desk is the absolute ground zero for corporate gossip. Anything they spot, no matter how tiny, is guaranteed to spread to every single department within 30 minutes. With that bright fever patch plastered on her forehead, Lucy slowly struts right past the reception desk. Right before the elevator doors slide shut, she hears them whispering, "Wait, is that a fever patch on the boss? Is she sick? I have worked here for over 2 entire years, and this is the absolute first time she has been sick." Mason resigning is clearly taking a massive toll on her. Well, they grew up together. Obviously, any new face trying to step into his shoes could never compare to him. We can all see why he left, but you and I have to admit, she looks pretty pathetic, heading upstairs to scheme. Let's jump back into this crazy drama. Ethan and his assistant Sam are already at work, but Sam is completely overwhelmed, running around like crazy. They did not even notice her arrive. While everyone else scrambled, Ethan just stood there looking incredibly lazy, making Chloe frown in pure annoyance. She used to think Ethan was a nice guy, but now, Mason is 10,000 times better than this cold loser who does not even know how to have fun. But since Ethan ruined everything, your real value finally started showing. You both graduated from that top university, and you are definitely not some useless bystander. Your skills and vision completely blow Ethan out of the water, which is huge for helping Lucy's career. Ethan acts like a sweet, obedient puppy, but he is actually just a parasite draining Lucy dry. Chloe wanted to scream, but she kept quiet to protect Lucy's feelings. Seeing them walk up, Ethan fakes a worried face and asks if Lucy is sick. Hearing his concern, her cold expression instantly softens up a bit. She tells him she is fine and just has things on her mind. Ignoring Ethan entirely, she walks right past him and heads inside. He stares after her, looking highly disappointed by her cold shoulder, but he quickly shakes it off and puts his fake mask back on. He grabs the homemade lunchbox he brought and follows her inside. Honestly, Lucy never eats prepackaged meals because she is so picky. She hates food that sits out for too long, but her stomach is absolutely killing her today. To protect her health, you literally had a kitchen built near her office and kept staff on standby. Back then, you used to show up an hour early every single day just to cook her fresh meals yourself. Now, pay attention to this detail. Ethan has been clinging to Lucy forever, but you were still the only one she ever allowed in her kitchen. This pathetic lunch is his way of showing Lucy that if her husband will not cook for her, other guys gladly will. He knows she cannot stand food that spoils easily, so he whipped up a cold, fresh salad instead. He practically skips into her office, proudly holding his little masterpiece. But when he enters, he finds her staring deeply at something on her desk. It is an incredibly cheap, childish-looking crystal pendant. She had smashed this pendant in a rage, but now it is carefully glued back together. Ethan grips his lunchbox so hard his knuckles turn white. Pure jealousy flashes in his eyes after all his hard work. Yet, he still forces a warm, gentle smile onto his face. He asks if she has eaten, presenting his homemade salad and pleading with her to give it a try. Meanwhile, news of the manager resigning and the CEO working while sick is spreading like crazy through every single office gossip group in the company. A guy over in finance reads the drama, chuckles to himself, and immediately dials a number to report some incredibly juicy news to his contact. Back at the courtyard house, your alarm rings. Normally, you would definitely hit snooze and sleep in a little bit longer, but since you were staying at Sophia's place, sleeping in feels totally rude. You open your eyes and shake yourself out of your daze. Grabbing your phone, you check your chat apps and see your old coworkers messaging. The business department chat is completely blowing up with spam. So we click on the chat, and while the rumors say that you, a literal young master, were somehow forced out by a country bumpkin like Ethan, they are calling him a brainless idiot. But others defend you, saying those losers are just jealous of your department's past success. We used to live large when Director Mason was in charge. Now that he is gone, nobody even wants to work on projects. They cannot even get scraps now. Everyone feels totally lost without Mason's protection, wishing that annoying Ethan was the one who got kicked out instead. The front desk says CEO Lucy came in wearing a fever patch today, and everyone wonders if it is because of Director Mason. They hope the boss and Mason end their Cold War soon. Then, someone asks if anyone watched the live stream last night. They think the famous goddess Sophia's stream had a huge secret, because her husband's voice sounded exactly like Director Mason. While the sales team has not heard anything official, everyone knows how much Mason loved Lucy. Surely he would not move on that fast. Seeing them gossip about your painful past makes you feel completely embarrassed. Did these people seriously forget that you are still in this group chat? You quietly leave the group and head over to wash your face. As for Lucy being sick, you have already completely pushed her out of your mind. You thought you got up early, but Sophia is already in the kitchen cooking up a storm. Hearing you walk in, she smiles and turns around. She tells you to eat up and hope you do not hate her cooking. While eating, you desperately want to ask her why she did not just marry Michael. But every time you open your mouth, you chicken out and swallow your words. Sophia, of course, sees right through your hesitation. She openly invites you to speak your mind and ask her anything. You freeze mid-bite, staring at her with wide eyes. You seriously wonder if she can literally read minds. She just smiles and tells you that you have exactly 3 minutes to ask, or you lose your chance forever. You carefully choose your words and ask, since you and Michael grew up together when you needed a fake husband, why did you not choose him instead? Sure, you were drunk and proposed first, but she easily could have said no. You were totally desperate, but she had endless choices. Honestly, it still feels like a wild dream. She even signed a prenup that gave her absolutely zero benefits. Was she not even worried you were just some gold digger trying to use her? Sophia thinks for a moment before replying carefully. She says she barely knows Michael. But as for why she chose you, well, trust me, you and I are about to find out it was no accident. Meanwhile, back at the office, Ethan is standing there holding his lunchbox, totally unaware of what is coming. Alright, you and I are about to dive into one of the most stressful business family dramas ever. Ethan stood there, completely ignored, staring pitifully at Lucy. She was clutching a broken doll, her eyes glued to her phone. Her face was completely dark. 30 minutes had passed with zero news from Mason. Lucy took a deep breath and grabbed Chloe's phone instead. Silently, she opened the Green Bubble app to message the business department. But before she could even tap the screen, her office door suddenly burst open. It was Felix, Lucy's childhood friend and fellow financial manager. He was also her biggest rival for the keys to the family empire. Having him show up right now was bad news. Chloe immediately snapped, asking if the deputy manager's family ever taught him how to knock. Felix didn't even flinch, casually holding a folder. He claimed he heard Lucy fell ill over Director Mason's situation and just came to check. Hearing that name made Lucy's blood boil instantly. If she was a fire extinguisher, Felix was definitely the one trying to spark an absolute explosion. This guy was definitely up to no good. A vein popped on Lucy's forehead as she spat. Now you've seen me, so get out. Felix laughed it off, stepping closer to the three women. He mockingly patted his chest and joked about how energetic she looked, claiming her wounds seemed totally healed. Then I can relax? He smirked, sliding a stack of papers across her desk. This is the winning bid from last time. Sign it. Lucy opened the folder. It was their recent project in Shanghai. They needed $1.5 billion in funding to compensate the Lewis family, and they needed it fast. Where on earth was she going to get $1.5 billion? As the finance manager, he knew damn well the company accounts were empty. Lucy slammed the file shut, stating this project wasn't supposed to start for another 2 months. Yet Felix just stood there, looking completely innocent. Aren't you being too impatient? Felix sneered. The old man was worried, so he called me directly. Instantly, Lucy and Chloe went completely pale. Now pay attention to this part. The old man bypassing them to contact Felix directly meant he definitely knew about the disaster with the Millers. The patriarch was a ruthless, cold-hearted man. Now that he knew about this massive failure, the consequences for Lucy were going to be absolutely terrifying. Felix slid the documents even closer, demanding her signature. This was the most humiliating moment Lucy had faced since taking over the Lancaster family. His demands were legally perfect, and the grandfather was still pulling all the strings. Realizing she was trapped, Lucy opened the file, grabbed her pen, and aggressively signed her name on the dotted line. Slamming the signed folder right back at him, she snapped, "Get lost." Felix just smiled coldly, mockingly telling her to control her temper. He warned her the Lancasters were about to crash. She was supposed to protect the Miller family's second young master, but failed. She tried to play hero, but only ended up digging her own grave and creating this absolute disaster. Felix scoffed, turning to look at Ethan, who was standing quietly in the corner looking pale as a ghost. He mockingly gave him a thumbs up, sarcastically praising the two siblings for their incredible talent. Their ruined marriage completely shattered the alliance between their families, instantly killing Lucy's partnership with the powerful Lewis Corporation. All right, you and I need to watch this closely. Felix paused, turned back, and whispered a savage reminder right into Lucy's ear. Telling her to check Weibo and drop her arrogant attitude, he finally left, leaving Lucy drowning in a wave of intense panic and rage. A country wedding? Impossible. How could he marry another woman? Right then, Chloe walked over with her phone, her voice shaking with fear. "Sister Lucy, it is real. Mason actually got married." Lucy stared at the screen, looking at a beautiful picture of Mason and Sophia together. Seeing the company's official account liking the post made her feel like the entire world was laughing at her. Her mind went completely blank with disbelief. Chloe hesitated before telling her that Wyatt had also confirmed the news on Weibo. Deep down, Lucy knew there was no denying reality anymore. Mason, the man who once loved her with his entire soul, had actually married someone else. It felt like she had been thrown into ice-cold water. Slumping against her desk, her entire world shattered. Looking at the screen, memories of his past wedding proposal suddenly flashed vividly in her mind. That massive field of roses was filled with her absolute favorite flowers. Simple, passionate, and beautifully designed just to make her happy back then. That bright, vibrant color was gone forever. It was a crystal-clear memory of a love she would never experience again. She had not realized it back then. Even on their planned engagement day, the venue was covered in white roses, her favorite flower. Then she remembered Sophia's posts. Those exact roses were there too. Sophia actually owned a massive rose farm. Lucy's hands began to shake. It was highly likely that Sophia had planted those very flowers herself. The realization hit her hard, sending a shockwave through her mind. A cold shiver ran down her spine. All these years, Sophia had been lurking in the background. She was smart, calculating, and had her eyes set on Mason the entire time. Just thinking about how calculated this was made her blood run absolutely cold. Facing a rival like Sophia was genuinely terrifying. She stared at the 9 photos online, documenting every single moment from getting ready to the final vows. Every detail was perfectly planned and timed. Lucy's eyes locked onto the center of the photo, staring at the person she once loved. Mason and Sophia were looking at each other with pure adoration. Even through a phone screen, the love was undeniable. Lucy scoffed bitterly. No wonder he did not wait for her, ignored her calls, and quit his job so easily. He already had his perfect escape plan lined up. Feeling completely numb, Lucy stood up with absolute determination, declaring that she was going to find him. She needed to look into his eyes and get some real answers face to face. As she marched out, leaving Ethan fuming in the dark, Mason was driving away. Trust me, you and I are definitely going to want to see what happens next. Alright, you and I are jumping right into a wild twist because Sophia's words are still echoing. What if that fateful night was actually planned? But here's the catch, you completely misunderstood what she actually meant by that sentence. I mean, if Wyatt wasn't in Paris that day, you wouldn't have ended up at that bar alone, right? You even picked the place on a whim. How could it be anything but a coincidence? While you are lost in thought, your phone suddenly vibrates. You get an unusual text. Lucy knows about your marriage. She is coming to find you, Mason. Looking out the window at the Lancaster Group building, you feel uneasy. It's obvious Ethan isn't helping you out of pure kindness. He just wants to keep you from running into Lucy. But you are already approaching the building. A clash is unavoidable. Besides, you have no plans to hide. You got married openly and honestly. Why should you dodge your ex-girlfriend like a thief stealing some cheap happiness? This is the perfect chance to set things straight with Lucy. Time to say a final goodbye to more than 10 years of your youth. But just as you are ready to break the news to Sophia, another car cuts you off. The sudden braking jerks the vehicle forward violently. Luckily, you both had your seatbelts on. Sophia looks over, completely worried, but you shake your head to show you are totally fine. Now watch closely because this gets absolutely insane. Chloe knew Lucy was losing her mind, but she never expected her to crash straight into Sophia's car. Luckily, Sophia wasn't speeding, so they avoided a massive crash. But the moment you see Lucy stepping out of that other car, you recognize her instantly. Your scalp goes numb as pure. Fiery rage explodes in your chest. She almost hit Sophia. The mere thought of Sophia getting hurt sends you over the edge. All common sense vanishes as a massive wave of anger takes over. You unbuckle your seatbelt, slam the door open, and march right out of the car. You scream at the top of your lungs. Lucy Lancaster, what the hell is wrong with you? Do you realize a crash like that could kill 3 people? If that hit was any stronger, Sophia could have been severely hurt. You can't even bear to imagine it. Suddenly, Sophia is standing right behind you. She gently squeezes your hand to calm you down. Chloe basically collapses onto the ground in panic, while Lucy slowly drags herself over. Seeing you holding hands with Sophia makes Chloe feel totally helpless and frustrated. She literally begs you to please stop showing off your affection in front of Sister Lucy. She is harder to handle than a wild animal. Sure enough, the very next second, Lucy's intense gaze sweeps across your and Sophia's faces. Finally, her eyes lock onto your clasped hands. Like a triggered maniac, she flies into a total rage. Sophia Smith, let go of him right now. Sophia looks at the hysterical Lucy. CEO Lucy, I am holding my husband's hand. As an outsider, I do not need your permission. That word, husband, hits Lucy's sore spot perfectly. Her eyes turn demonic, burning with red rage. Gone is the poised, cold female CEO image. Your husband? She screams. He is my fiancé. How is he your husband? Okay, let's pause here. 2 luxury cars blocking downtown traffic like this was bound to draw a huge, gossiping crowd. You refuse to be treated like a circus show. Saving face is one thing, but you genuinely care about protecting both the Miller and Smith family reputations. So, you look directly at Lucy standing right in front of you, you close your eyes, take a deep breath, and speak. Lucy Lancaster, out of respect for our past, there are things I avoided saying because they are too harsh, but you seriously need some self-awareness. Do you remember the first time you met Assistant Sam? Everyone knew you ran off to Shanghai just to be with Ethan. The sheer helplessness of being abandoned at our own engagement party and being stood up by you countless times before. A deep, cold anger creeps directly into your voice. The very moment you abandoned me for Ethan, our relationship was completely dead and permanently severed. There is no going back. If you have any shame left, let's just part ways peacefully. You squeeze Sophia's hand tightly, adding coldly. Besides, Sophia is the woman I am engaged to. She is my legally wedded wife, recognized by law. I expect you to show her some respect whenever you see her. Lucy stands there trembling at your words. But I told you, Ethan cut his wrists. A human life is at stake. Why can't you have some sympathy? You find this absolutely ridiculous. He cut his wrists? Does he not have parents to look after him? At the very worst, his brother can handle it. Why is it your business? You are an outsider, yet you literally canceled our engagement just to run to him. You rarely say such harsh things, but the sheer audacity of Lucy and Ethan is infuriating. Are you a doctor or a nurse? If he actually wanted to die, his body would already be stone cold by the time you rushed all the way over from Beijing. A guy who allegedly tried to end his life, yet he went back to work earlier than you did. You still fell for it. Maybe by the time you got to the hospital, his tiny scratch was already fully healed. Did you really not understand this, Lucy? Not the first time, nor the 100 times after. Did you really not get it? Lucy hears these undeniable truths, but she still feels completely targeted. She complains that you got married to Sophia without telling her, your official girlfriend. You let out a dry laugh. Lucy, when you hired Ethan as your personal secretary, did you ever ask for my opinion? Buying him a house? Buying him a car? Did you consult me when you sent him that money? You shake your head coldly. No. Even the news of you skipping our engagement party only reached me after your plane had already taken off. So, I simply got a new fiancé. Why should I owe you an explanation? My engagement with Sophia was never a secret. If you cared about me even a single %, you wouldn't just be finding out about this today. So, who are you trying to fool with this fake heartbreak? With every sharp word you speak, Lucy's shoulders slump lower and lower. She mutters that you were never like this before. You were left completely speechless. What was I like? Always letting you walk all over me. She let Ethan destroy you, yet she stands on the moral high ground accusing you of changing. But you and I both know who the real villain is. Alright, let's watch the moment our main character finally stops wasting his breath. Lucy's massive ego made her completely deaf to reason. Realizing you'd never get through to her, you decided to drop the talking, pulled out your phone, and dialed 911. You reported the whole incident, straight up suing Lucy for attempted murder. By the time you finally left the police station, night had already fallen. Statements usually don't take this long, but the moment the Smith family heard about your near-fatal crash, Grandma and Grandpa came rushing over like lightning. They demanded the absolute harshest punishment for Lucy. Outside, you stood right beside Sophia, surrounded by a massive crowd of worried family members. You bowed and apologized, saying if it wasn't for your personal drama, the family would still be at peace instead of dealing with this mess. Seeing you look so guilty, Grandma Smith instantly grabbed your hand, telling you to stop blaming yourself for that crazy woman's actions. Then she glared at Sophia, joking that her granddaughter's tough skin could easily handle a crash, before angrily pointing out this was clearly no accident. Grandma nodded firmly, saying the real criminal was locked inside and you should stop feeling guilty about Lucy. But Mom Smith frowned. Since nobody got hurt and there was no actual impact, putting Lucy behind bars was going to be incredibly tough. Trust me, you're going to love Grandma Smith's savage comeback here, wishing Sophia had actually taken a hit just to lock Lucy up. That way, justice would be served and Mason could finally vent his anger. Hearing that made your eyes widen in pure shock. You quickly shook your head as Sophia hid behind you, joking that she just got a husband and didn't want to die young. Grandpa Smith playfully glared at her before warmly inviting both of you to stay at the family estate for a few days. Knowing you were still incredibly shaken up and probably needed some personal space, he let the elders head home first, gently urging you to just visit them in a few days. You quickly agreed. Once the family drove off, Sophia turned to you and offered a ride home, and you quietly nodded. On the drive back, you nervously apologized for bringing all this drama into her life, while Sophia gripped the wheel, staring silently ahead. She told you there was no need to apologize, adding that she was actually thrilled you chose to call the cops directly. The truth was, Sophia wasn't furious about her own safety. She was terrified because you were in the car when Lucy forced them to stop. Lucy's reckless stunt put your life in serious danger, and Sophia was fully prepared to throw hands the second they got out. But instead of being soft-hearted like usual, you immediately stepped up and shielded Sophia without a single shred of hesitation. Being protected and truly understood by someone felt incredible. Besides, she firmly believed Lucy's wild actions crossed the line into literal attempted murder. They couldn't just brush it off because they got lucky. If they let it slide now, next time could be deadly, and the law has to step in. You had already suffered way too much emotional blackmail from Lucy and Ethan, and she refused to let you go through that again. I know what you were thinking was he regretting his harsh words, but pay close attention to how Sophia stops the car, looks at him, and completely reassures him. She tells you to just follow your heart. If people don't push you first, you wouldn't lash out. It sounded simple, yet it completely stunned you. As she stopped at a red light, a sudden wave of worry hit her. Once you arrived at the apartment building, she walked you all the way upstairs. You unlocked the door and invited her inside, but she just leaned lazily against the door frame, politely declining your offer. But just as you went to close the door, Sophia softly called out your name, making you open it back up in confusion. She hesitated, asking you not to stay there tonight. When you explained that you actually own the place, her casual vibe vanished as she whispered that she just didn't want you there alone. You paused, immediately realizing she was terrified that Lucy might come back for revenge. Since you were also feeling unsafe and wanted to move but had no other place lined up, Sophia calmly stepped in and offered her own home. Staring directly into your eyes, she calmly assured you she had plenty of extra rooms and promised you would have complete privacy, just like the night before. You agreed almost instantly, prompting Sophia to immediately suggest packing up and moving the very next day. She promised to send movers tomorrow, and you quickly agreed, knowing it was best to escape before Lucy got out on bail. Once she left, you got straight to work, packing your essentials, prepping clothes for donation, and listing the apartment for sale. You had zero intention of ever coming back. With everything packed, you finally built up the courage to check social media. Seeing that Sophia's leaked videos had completely vanished from the internet, you finally let out a massive sigh of relief. She had temporarily paused her live streams for personal reasons, giving away millions in cash to fans to distract them, while eyewitnesses online started sharing their chaotic stories. A few blurry, faraway photos of the crash scene went viral, instantly sparking massive curiosity across the internet. Her fans were incredibly supportive, expressing deep concern for her hiatus and wishing her well. Sophia replied to a couple of comments to thank them, and the massive cash giveaway worked perfectly, keeping the internet completely distracted from the truth. Even though you were the main target, your name was kept totally clean, and you felt zero guilt regarding Lucy. Your only real worry was whether this insane drama would end up hurting the Miller or Smith families in any way. But at the end of the day, you and I both know he is fully prepared to face any online hate just to protect his newfound happiness. Let's dive into this wild story where Sophia already quietly solved everything, showing up the next day with a full moving crew. These maids were temporarily reassigned from the main family estate. They were absolutely thrilled to hear you were moving in with Sophia. They immediately packed into the apartment to coordinate the moving plan with you. As packing began, you handed out refreshing drinks to everyone. Then, grabbing your most valuable possession, you headed out the door first. The movers would handle the rest and ship it directly. Walking alongside Sophia, you happily opened doors and pressed the elevator buttons for her. You two made a great team. Sophia's signature Bentley was waiting right downstairs. After tossing your luggage into the trunk, you both slid into the luxury car and got ready to roll. As the car glided past the residential gates, you watched your old life fade away. Finally, the crazy reality of actually moving in with Sophia hit you. It was a surreal feeling, and you just had to share it with someone. Naturally, you whipped out your phone to brag to your buddy Wyatt. Texting him that you were moving in with Sophia instantly made your own ears flush red. Right then, Sophia was casually steering the wheel with one hand. She handed over a fresh bottle of water, asking if you wanted a drink. Caught staring at your screen, you nearly dropped your phone in sheer panic. You quickly locked your phone and gulped the water, coughing slightly as she watched. Stopping at a red light, Sophia leaned over, looking at you with a smirk. Ever heard the saying that people act super busy when they feel totally awkward? She teased, looking right at your nervous, wide-open eyes. You were completely speechless. To break the ice, you took a sip and asked about her family, wondering what gifts Mother Smith and her grandparents might actually like. Knowing how much they already adored you, Sophia smiled and said, "Mom loves skincare." Now pay attention, because her grandparents have the wildest hobbies like collecting anime merch and car models, so a cute plushie is perfect. Meanwhile, Lucy spent a rough night locked up at the police station before her assistant, Sam, bailed her out. Overnight, she looked completely drained and broken. She looked like a lifeless puppet. Seeing her former boss in this pathetic state, Chloe was totally speechless. Leaving the precinct, she desperately hoped Lucy wouldn't seek you out again. Offending Sophia yesterday was bad enough, and making another move now would destroy them. This was the absolute final warning for their family. One more mistake, and they were done. Fortunately, Lucy still cared enough about the company. A massive mess was waiting for them, so making trouble was out of the question. On the drive back, Sam kept completely quiet while Lucy sat frozen in the back seat. Walking through the main office lobby, she couldn't help but overhear the receptionist gossiping about the latest juicy drama. "Did you hear that Mason and the Smith family are getting married? It's crazy. Plus, I know exactly why boss Lucy skipped work today. She tried to confront Chief Executive Smith and Director Mason yesterday, but got dragged to jail instead. Now, the board is actually discussing firing her." Chloe's mind was racing with thoughts of ruin, terrified that Lucy's termination would cause an absolute media storm. She didn't even dare look at Lucy's face. Chloe looked to assistant Sam, hoping for any shred of good news. Seeing the desperation in her eyes, Sam could only shake his head. "We both know the chairman has other heirs, like Felix, and honestly, he values Felix far more than Lucy. Despite relying on her connections, Lucy had built real power here. But this scandal ruined everything, leaving her status hanging by a thread, making Sam sigh in defeat. Honestly, she brought this entire disaster upon herself. Glancing at Chloe's pale, worried face, Lucy dragged her heavy footsteps toward the elevator. The gossiping receptionist instantly spotted Lucy, their faces drained of color as they silently shuffled out of her way. Stepping into the elevator, Lucy stared blankly at her reflection. On the outside, she was calm, but inside, a massive storm was brewing. Reaching the top floor, Lucy slammed the office door shut. "Keep your voice down," Chloe whispered to assistant Sam. "Sister Lucy is absolutely furious right now." "Panicking won't solve anything," Sam replied, giving her a cold look. "So what do you suggest we do?" Chloe could only laugh nervously. "Maybe we should go in there and calm her down." Sam rolled his eyes. "Why don't you go then?" Chloe rubbed her nose, accidentally bumping into him. "Now that Mason and Sophia are together, is there any way for our family to survive?" Sam muttered. "Who even knows if we stand a chance? Our only desperate option is another political marriage." Chloe knew the drill, but with Lucy's stubborn pride, she knew it was a total long shot. Realizing marriage wouldn't fix this mess, they buried themselves in work. Lucy was practically forgotten until a sudden phone call arrived from Guchenlu. When Chloe rushed over, she found Lucy drinking heavily with two wealthy tycoons. Shattered bottles littered the floor, and Lucy was clearly completely wasted. Chloe furiously demanded to know why they were treating Lucy like garbage, but the executives just laughed. They sneered that they didn't need her help. Instead, she was the one begging on her knees. To them, Lucy was no longer the powerful, untouchable boss. Swallowing the humiliation, Chloe dragged a stumbling Lucy out, her own heart sinking into deep despair. Completely in a daze, Lucy was dragged out of the Jichun Tower. The moment they hit the fresh air, she began vomiting violently. Seeing a pool of deep red on the ground, Chloe panicked, realizing Lucy was throwing up blood. Instantly, Chloe's mind went completely blank. An intense ringing filled her ears, drowning out all sound. Paralyzed by shock, her hands shook uncontrollably as she reached out to grab Lucy. Voice trembling, she begged Lucy not to die. Later, in the quiet hospital hallway, she peered through the small glass window of the emergency ward. Watching Lucy lie pale and weak on the bed, Chloe finally caught her breath. The doctors said they arrived just in time, and it wasn't life-threatening. Lucy always had a sensitive stomach, which she used to manage perfectly back then. Now, nobody was left to care for her. In the past, light meals easily cured her attacks, but throwing up blood? That was a terrifying first. Trust me, you and I are going to want to see who she calls next. Alright, let's dive into a story where a shattered heart hits rock bottom. Forgetting her 8 a.m. shift, she drops her phone, sliding down the wall in pure despair. A wave of sadness washed over her. She and Lucy had been inseparable since childhood, sharing a deep bond forged through years of facing life's endless storms together. Back then, they were both orphans while Lucy had family, though the wealthy Lancaster clan brutally refused to take Lucy back. Her grandfather never once visited her. Still, the Cole family sent monthly drop-offs of basic food, clothes, and snacks to keep her alive. Compared to the other orphans, Lucy lived like royalty. Honestly, she only started following Lucy around just to share those clothes and food. But over time, their bond grew into something real. Lucy became her entire world, her most cherished sister, and her only true family. She genuinely believed they'd never be parted. Who could have expected this mess? Now, thinking about Sister Lucy's condition, a deep wave of shame hit her. She didn't dare call you, but her mind kept racing. After 10 long years of shared warmth, how could she just let go of everything so easily? She refused to believe you forgot Lucy. Sure, dragging Lucy to the police station yesterday seemed right, but looking back now, it felt completely wrong and inappropriate. In a way, wasn't taking the blame yourself away to protect Sister Lucy? You stepped up. It gave the powerful Smith family their answers and cooled their boiling rage. Back then, trying to resolve things peacefully felt completely different. But then, the Smiths unleashed their brutal revenge anyway. Spending a night locked in a cell, the more she pondered, the more convinced she became that you were right. Now watch closely. She's convinced you still carry deep feelings because you care so much about Lucy. Hearing Lucy was hospitalized with severe stomach pain had her panicking. She wouldn't even know how to get there so fast. Maybe this is your chance to reconcile. Taking out her phone, she opened your chat, quickly typed a text, and hit send. Meanwhile, you spent the entire afternoon relaxing in the quiet Smith garden. Finally, you finished unpacking all your boxes. Standing up and taking in the familiar, cozy layout, you let out a massive sigh of pure relief. The new setup felt incredibly warm. Looking through the elegant pear wood window, you watched the sky grow dark as the courtyard garden lights flickered on one by one. Sophia's room and the study next door were completely pitch black. Assuming you were alone, you quietly headed toward the kitchen, gripping your phone. Stepping closer, the delicious aroma of home-cooked food hit you. Catching sight of Sophia busy cooking in her apron, you couldn't help but secretly snap a quick picture of her. You only realized it while scrolling through your gallery. Last time, you actually wanted to share those cozy kitchen photos on your social media feed. But then you got completely distracted by the live broadcast. Funnily enough, you had taken almost the exact same cooking photo of her last time. Comparing the new shot with the old one, you realized both pictures were absolutely perfect. Since the older photo was taken closer, it beautifully captured Sophia's elegant profile, making it the winner. Still, looking at the other three pictures, they felt slightly off. Just then, Sophia stepped out of the kitchen carrying steaming plates. You instantly locked your phone to help her. She handed you a warm plate of garlic bok choy, her eyes locking onto yours. When did you finish unpacking? Why didn't you call me? Were you bored waiting? Let's pause here. Setting the dishes down, you told her you just finished, asking why she didn't let you help cook. Honestly, your culinary skills are top tier. But since you were a guest at Sophia's place, letting her do all the heavy lifting felt slightly embarrassing. Setting down the bowls and chopsticks, Sophia casually smiled. She mentioned that cooking always relaxes her. Besides, you visiting her place didn't mean you had to work. I didn't invite you over to put you to work. You blinked in surprise. Was she really pampering you like this? The world was starting to feel surreal. As Sophia finished arranging the table, she noticed you standing there in a complete daze. Tilting her head, she softly asked you to do her a quick favor. Feeling slightly lightheaded, you stepped forward. Sophia turned her back to you, asking you to untie her apron. Your fingers gently reached out, pulling the soft black ribbon. With a single pull, the ribbon untied effortlessly. You stood there frozen, completely speechless. She admitted she thought she had accidentally tied 3 tight knots on it. Why was it so ridiculously easy then? Sophia smoothly slipped off her apron, turning around to tease you with a gentle, playful tone like you were a toddler. There, now do you feel like you helped out with dinner? Realizing what she was doing, you found it incredibly amusing. You weren't some little kid. Before digging in, you carefully snapped one last picture of the feast. Garlic bok choy, stir-fried shrimp, sweet and sour ribs, and delicious hot corn soup. The spread looked absolutely mouth-watering even without any fancy filters. Combined with the other 3 shots, you easily arranged them into a neat 4-grid layout. Writing a quick caption about enjoying Miss Smith's legendary home cooking, you uploaded it. Instantly, notifications, likes, and comments started blowing up. Of course, Wyatt immediately complained about you ignoring his texts while posting online, calling you a complete sellout who abandons his boys. Laughing, you replied to him and went to check your inbox. But right as you went to open his chat, your phone suddenly buzzed with a brand new notification. It was a text from Chloe. Before you could even read it, the phone vibrated again, delivering an incoming image. You froze, hesitating for 2 brief seconds. Chloe begged you to visit Lucy, who was rushed to the hospital with stomach pain. Look at the photo she attached. In a cold, empty room, Lucy lay pale as a ghost on the bed, an IV needle taped to her arm. After all, you two had grown up together. It was impossible to pretend you felt absolutely nothing. You didn't want to see her suffer, but you were completely exhausted by the constant lack of healthy boundaries. More than anything, you refused to hurt Sophia again. Lucy clearly couldn't accept the reality, but you knew there was absolutely no future left for the two of you. Giving her zero hope, you coldly text back, "Isn't she already in the hospital? And trust me, you and I know that's how you set a boundary." Stick with me, we are diving into a wild story that starts with you sending a cold text and checking messages from famous Wyatt. Because let's face it, some secrets can ruin you if they ever get leaked, especially the criminal kind. Suddenly, you see Sophia accidentally spill the ribs soup. You quickly type back, telling the sender you will explain during tomorrow's shopping trip. Later, while loading the dishwasher together, Sophia asks if you want some fruit, admitting she still doesn't quite know what you like. She bought grapes, berries, and blueberries. You laugh and tell her that since she cooked, she needs to let you wash the fruit. Sophia smiles and steps aside for you. Amused, you walk over and open the fridge, finding all the food neatly and perfectly organized. It is an absolute dream for your inner neat freak. But then, a specific carton of soy milk catches your eye. You remember your aunt mentioning it. This was the exact brand from your high school cafeteria's partner company. Sophia looks shocked when you grab the carton, but hearing your words, the spark in her eyes instantly dies out as she forces a weak smile. She asks if you remember it, and you nod. You loved drinking it back in high school. Sophia just sighs softly. This brand was discontinued years ago, so how did she get it? She smiles, explaining that the company was bought out. And this is where things get really intense. You hold that rare carton, looking at Sophia, feeling like she's about to totally break down. Clearly, this milk holds deep meaning for her, so you quickly apologize, saying you only picked it up out of sheer surprise. In that instant, your heart feels incredibly heavy and sour, like someone just squeezed fresh lemon juice right into it. So, Sophia has someone she deeply cares about too, Seeing her look so down and disappointed makes you feel incredibly guilty. Scrambling for words, you apologize for touching her things, promising to show your sincerity by personally buying her this milk for the rest of time. You steal a glance at her face, telling yourself you only touched the box and did not actually drink any of it. Surely she would not be that petty. But as you overthink, Sophia suddenly laughs, her teary eyes lighting up with genuine amusement. She admits she was just checking the expiration date to see if the milk was still safe to drink. Leaning lazily against the fridge, she smiles and says that since you made the offer, you have to seal it with a pinky promise. I know what you're thinking. Is this girl playing games? She's got her pinky out, acting totally innocent when you call her out. She looks just like a sad, abandoned puppy right now. So, you decide it is best to just keep your word. Giving in, you hold out your pinky. Her warm hand brushes against yours, making your fingers tremble slightly at the sudden touch. You complain that this is childish, but Sophia takes it incredibly seriously, as if she is performing a sacred ritual. In a soft but intense voice, she says the deal is sealed, and you must supply her milk for the rest of her life. Her words melt your heart, and you softly agree to her lifetime promise. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Chloe is curled up in a corner, desperately staring at her phone, hoping to see you typing back. But when your reply comes, her smile freezes. Your message makes it crystal clear Lucy is completely dead to you for choosing Ethan. Realizing you and Lucy are truly over, Chloe quietly deletes the chat history so Lucy can never find out about it. Completely losing control of her emotions, Chloe passes out from the pure stress, only to be suddenly jolted awake by a barrage of urgent phone calls from assistant Sam. When she answers, Sam's panicked voice screams through the phone, saying the company is in deep trouble and demanding to know where Lucy is. Before she can speak, Sam demands they return instantly, forcing Chloe to confess that they are currently stuck at the hospital. She explains that Lucy drank something bad, got a severe stomachache, and is still unconscious. After a quiet pause, Sam asks for their location. While waiting for assistant Sam to arrive, Chloe checks Weibo and finds some incredibly damaging news about the Lancaster family blowing up. They are accused of selling cheap, defective goods as premium products, a massive $800 million fraud that has the Lewis family threatening to sue. Their PR team released a statement blaming a newly hired warehouse manager, but the public is not buying it, flooding the comments with anger. Nobody believes a giant corporation would scapegoat a low-level worker. As Chloe scrolls through the comments, her anxiety spikes, realizing the PR team rushed this statement without Lucy's approval. Who had the authority to release that? Checking the company group chat, she finds the normally loud group completely dead silent. Things are definitely incredibly bad. During Lucy's last drama, everyone was gossiping. Now, this total silence means the ship is sinking, and Chloe can feel the looming disaster. Clutching her messy hair in panic, she sees assistant Sam burst into the hospital room, frantically asking if Lucy is finally awake yet. Before Chloe can lie and say she is still completely out, she notices Lucy's eyes are already wide open, staring blankly, filled with absolute, crushing regret. She is staring at the ceiling like a completely empty, lifeless doll, forcing Chloe to wave a hand to see if she can even blink. Sam looks from Lucy to Chloe, completely baffled by the tense and heavy atmosphere in the room, while Chloe just nervously hums to avoid his gaze. And that's where we leave it. No mercy from the Lewis family, and a massive storm is coming for Lucy. Let's dive in as the Lancaster defective goods scandal blows up, while a defeated Lucy just lies motionless on the table. Assistant Sam snaps that angry shareholders have arrived at the company, waiting in the chief executive officer's office for a major explanation. Hearing this, Chloe's eyelids twitch as she frantically winks at Sam, who totally ignores her. Usually, Lucy always favors Ethan anyway, so whatever. Sam is ready to lose her temper. She keeps quiet, knowing this is absolutely not the time to indulge Lucy's ridiculous nonsense anymore. Sam sighs deeply. Even though she works for Lucy, anyone would choose Sophia over her. Let's face it, Sophia is just way more reliable than Lucy ever was. Sam mutters about giving up, saying there is no shame in Lucy losing everything to Sophia now that Mason is married. But hearing Mason's name triggers a sudden spark in Lucy. Lucy slowly turns around, whispering that she finally understands. Sam and Chloe exchange a very confused look, having no idea what she actually knows. With a blank stare, a sudden flicker of life returns to Lucy's empty eyes. She remembers that day on the street, whispering that she never should have defended Ethan. Her voice is soft as she mutters to herself, realizing that Harua was in total emotional turmoil, and she never should have used Ethan like that. She realizes she must apologize, admitting her mistake. Keeping Ethan close was wrong, and missing her own engagement party because of him was an absolute disaster. As she breaks down crying, Chloe cannot take it anymore. She desperately calls for warm water, telling Lucy to drink something and calm down first. But Lucy shoves Chloe away and leaps to her feet. She insists she must find Mason to explain everything, convinced he only thinks she did this to anger him. In pure self-deception, Lucy mutters that he only chose Sophia to get back at her as she rushes out the door. Watch closely, because here is where it gets crazy. Sam snatches the cup from Chloe and splashes cold water right in Lucy's face, asking if she is finally awake. Sam warns her that if this doesn't work, she will use the stairwell fire hose. If Lucy doesn't snap out of it, she won't even keep her family name. Sam is usually the calmest, but Chloe can see she is truly furious now. They are actually daring to raise their hands against Lucy herself. Chloe swallows hard, silently screaming that Sam is absolutely ruthless. In this tense moment, it is impossible to tell who is actually the boss and who is the employee. Dripping wet and completely stunned, Lucy freezes. Sensing her weakness, Sam attacks immediately, demanding to know what the point of even looking for Mason is now. Sam looks her up and down with pure contempt, telling Lucy to buy a mirror, look at her pathetic self, and stop chasing after a guy like that. Mason was only ever used to compare her to Sophia, but now it is clear that choosing him was her only real option left. Lucy silently lets the water drip down her face, clenching her fists so hard her knuckles turn white. Her internal rage has officially hit its limit. Chloe stands nearby, terrified a physical fight is about to explode, frantically wondering whose side she should even take. Deep down, she knows keeping Sam around is the only thing protecting Lucy from making even bigger mistakes. Still, she hopes Sam can finally wake Lucy up, since she has done nothing but cause trouble lately. Like, remember when she literally hit Sophia with her car? Lucy grips her own legs tightly, barely holding back her exploding rage. Suddenly, Sam leans in close, mockingly asking if Lucy actually wants to punch her right now. Go ahead, hit me right here. That way I have a perfect excuse to go work for Sophia. I won't even be mad. I will actually thank you. Thanks for giving me a brighter future. Knowing Sam is on the verge of resigning, Chloe steps in to pull her away, weakly trying to keep the peace. I know what you're thinking. This is brutal. Sam just sneers at her sadness, pointing out her terrible state and demanding they fix the Mason situation. If Lucy keeps acting this reckless, Ethan is going to run. Chloe is so stressed she wishes she could split herself into 8 pieces right now. On top of everything, she has to act as a therapist. Chloe curses inwardly, wondering who she is doing this for. Meanwhile, Lucy absorbs every word. Anger and helplessness war inside Lucy, the veins in her arms bulging. But just as she is about to completely lose control of herself, suddenly, like a pop balloon, all her defenses drop. She wipes her face, the tears clearing as her eyes regain cold focus. She speaks in a dry, calm voice. She tells Sam not to bait her. She won't fight, because she finally understands that her impulsiveness has already cost her too much. No more reckless decisions. She cannot let down her team. Besides, she realizes you and Sophia have actually known each other for years. They never interacted before, so this sudden closeness was definitely designed to make her angry. Plus, the entertainment industry rumors say Sophia only likes women anyway. All those moves were targeted straight at her. Panic sets in as she realizes she walked right into Sophia's trap. So she makes a choice. First priority is saving the Lancaster family. With her mind cleared, Lucy wipes her face, stands up tall, and marches toward the door. She demands an update on the family crisis, and Sam instantly shifts right back into professional work mode. Ever since the Lewis family broke the news, clients are demanding their deposits back. The sales department's phones are ringing off the hook. As Lucy and Sam plan their next move, Chloe stands alone in the quiet hospital room. Staring out the window, she ponders how fast everything changed in the blink of an eye. She cannot help but feel completely useless right now. Meanwhile, you notice the Lancaster crisis is trending online. But honestly, the only thing you are focused on is that massive $100 million figure. A wave of warmth washes over you, realizing how strong Uncle Lewis has been, never uttering a single word about any of this to you. But their downfall started on the engagement day. What if you had actually married Lucy? How long would Uncle Lewis have had to keep suffering in silence for your sake? Thinking about this, your eyes burn. And trust me, we can both feel the deep guilt and gratitude surging in your heart. Alright, you and I are diving into a sweet romance that is about to get a whole lot more exciting. Our main character checks the kitchen, feeling relieved after a stressful call. On the table sits a lunchbox, a sweet sticky note, and a sleek black card. It is from his new wife, leaving him food and a card loaded with cash. She wrote that she is paying for his day out with friends. Reading her sweet words, our main character realizes Sophia has completely stolen his heart. His loneliness instantly melts away. While eating, he messages his best friend Wyatt his current location, along with a flex photo of that legendary black card. He tells Wyatt to pick him up so they can hang out. A few moments later, his friend replies with pure excitement. Calling him Godfather, Wyatt promises to arrive instantly. Sure enough, a gorgeous red Ferrari screeches to a halt right outside the fancy estate gates. The window rolls down to reveal Wyatt looking sharp. He slides his sunglasses down, staring in awe at the massive Smith family mansion. Muttering about how rich they are, our main character hops in. Wyatt tells him to buckle up, but then turns with a suspicious look. He asks if Sophia has any single sisters, wondering if he could marry into this wealthy family too. leaving our guy completely speechless. After laughing it off, Wyatt looks him over with a mischievous grin. He demands to know the real gossip who actually suggested they move in together. Now watch closely, because our main character is about to turn bright red as Wyatt asks him the ultimate awkward question. He tells Wyatt to grow up, insisting he just moved in and absolutely nothing romantic has happened between him and Sophia yet. Wyatt looks him up and down, completely baffled. He calls him shameless, pointing out that Sophia wanted a handsome, fit guy by her side. If nothing happened, either our guy is totally blind or his wife prefers girls. Wyatt slides off his sunglasses. He rests his chin on the steering wheel, thinking deeply, before suddenly asking what would have happened if they got intimate that morning. Our main character blushes furiously under the endless questions. Looking like a bright red, freshly boiled shrimp, he desperately wants to cover Wyatt's mouth. He looks around nervously, begging his loud friend to keep it down. He explains they are not even sharing a bedroom. Wyatt yells out in disbelief, reacting like it is the funniest joke he has ever heard. They are legally married, so why are they sleeping in separate rooms? Wyatt asks if they are still living in the ancient era. Our main character whispers a warning, asking him to keep quiet since this is not something to brag about. Wyatt just nods, teasingly tapping his hand. Told to relax, our main character sighs in relief, but Wyatt groans, asking if he is a cowardly cartoon turtle hiding in his shell. Who would not be attracted to a goddess like Sophia? Back in college, countless guys from rich families would have done anything just to get her attention. Now she is his wife. Is he seriously unmoved by her charm? It is completely legal, so why is he not taking action? Our main character tries to dodge the question, but Wyatt tells him to buckle up and clears his throat, steering them back to reality. Asking if he still wants to go shopping, Wyatt drops the subject, realizing his friend will get genuinely mad if he keeps teasing him. He quickly shifts gears, asking why his friends suddenly wanted to hang out today. Our main character smiles, saying he finally has some free time. He claims he just wants to hang out, but Wyatt starts driving, looking straight ahead, telling him to cut the act and speak honestly. He explains that Grandma Smith wants them to visit her, so he cannot show up empty-handed and needs some gift advice from Wyatt. Wyatt smirks, knowing his friend only calls when he needs help. But then, our main character proudly whips out the black card Sophia gave him. He says he will not let Wyatt help him for free, since his new wife is paying for everything. He is definitely not too proud to spend her money. Sophia wants him to use it, so why not? After all, they are legally married, and she has every right to support her husband. Wyatt grins, teasingly repeating that Mrs. Smith is paying for their whole day. Our main character laughs and playfully threatens to smack him. Asking if he wants to get beat up, Wyatt quickly backs down. Sophia suggested simple gifts like skincare, but he feels that is not special enough. Instead, he drags Wyatt into a luxury jewelry store, picking out a stunning, premium pearl necklace and a beautiful jade ornament for the grandmother. Feeling like Sophia is always the one giving, he decides to get her a surprise too, choosing a pair of gorgeous diamond earrings. With the shopping done, they're about to grab barbecue. But wait, you and I need to see who's calling. Yes, it's his wife Sophia. She says she is almost off work and asks for the honor of buying her husband and his friend lunch today. Stunned, our guy sends back a question mark. Sophia replies instantly, mentioning how couples in college always treated their partner's friends. She wants to officially buy his roommate a meal to lock in her status as his wife, especially since they are legally married. She asks him to give her this chance to make things official. It is a real tradition, and she is taking it seriously. Looking at Wyatt, our main character is terrified of what embarrassing things his wild friend might say to his wife. Meanwhile, Wyatt is just busy posting selfies of his new clothes. Asking why his friend is staring, Wyatt takes the phone to read the texts. He grins, telling him to let her join so he can test her vibe. After sending the location, Sophia arrives in no time. They pack their shopping bags into the car and head over to the restaurant. Right after they sit down, he spots her through the window. Some people just have that presence. She stands out instantly, like a main character. The moment she walks in, everyone else fades into the background. He cannot take his eyes off her. He quickly glares at Wyatt, warning him to behave, while Wyatt gestures his lips are sealed as the door chimes ring. Trust me, you and I need to see what happens next. Alright, let's jump into a story about a gorgeous heiress who makes everyone's jaw drop the second she steps into the room. It was peak lunchtime, and every single eye locked onto her. You could even spot a few guys nearby blushing like crazy. Sophia offered a polite smile, walked straight towards your table, and sat right next to you. She warmly introduced herself as Sophia. She was Mason's wife. Wyatt, suddenly on his best behavior, politely introduced himself as Mason's close friend just as the waiter approached. Asking if they were ready to order, Sophia grabbed 2 menus, handing the first one to you before offering the second to Wyatt. She trusted their choices completely. Wyatt was highly impressed by her class, especially compared to how demanding and arrogant Lucy used to be. Lucy always mocked casual barbecue joints and hot pot spots. She would look down in disgust the second she heard a restaurant's name. Wyatt deliberately chose this humble place to test Sophia, He wanted to make sure she wasn't another dramatic nightmare like his ex. Thankfully, Sophia passed with flying colors, but because the restaurant was packed, their food was taking forever to arrive at the table. While Sophia went to grab hot water, you stepped away to check on the order. Sophia returned to find you gone from the table. She immediately started prep cleaning your dining set, pouring tea for Wyatt. Wyatt put down his phone, closely studying her every move. Knowing he wanted to talk, Sophia asked him straight up what was on his mind while looking around the busy dining room. Now here's the part you'll want to watch closely. Is Sophia really after our main character, or is she playing a deeper game? Wyatt knew she had genuine feelings for Mason since their engagement day. She was patient, and they even had their marriage certificate ready. Who would believe she had no interest in him? Sophia casually poured water for you to cool down, denying she had any hidden motives. She simply called it being a proper partner. Wyatt warned her that being too aggressive wouldn't work, advising her to attract him instead. Let him chase you, he said. Sophia quietly memorized the advice. Just then, you returned to the table with a warm smile. Asking what they were discussing, Wyatt quickly lied, claiming they were just complaining about the slow service. You explained the delay. The staff promised the food was coming right up. Wyatt kept the conversation lively, but Sophia easily matched his quick wit with her own impressive intelligence. She could chat about absolutely anything. The lunch turned out amazing, and all your initial worries quickly melted away. Still, Wyatt felt like a total third wheel watching Sophia cook your meat, serve your vegetables, and hand you tissues the entire time. He felt like a complete background extra. Once Sophia went to grab the car, Wyatt crossed his arms, calling her highly unusual. He warned you not to mess this up, after all those years of keeping your guard up. Honestly, you also thought she was great. You and I both know she seems like the perfect, wealthy, caring wife, but can anyone really be this good? None of your relationships ever lasted past 3 months, so how are you an expert? Wyatt just burst out laughing. Adjusting his huge sunglasses, he told you to mind your own business. His car was parked nearby, and Sophia pulled up right as you gathered your shopping bags. Wyatt leaned out his car window, jokingly telling her to take good care of you. Sophia nodded, packed your things in the trunk, and joined you inside. Buckling your seatbelt, you asked if she was skipping work today, wondering how she had so much free time away from her company. Sophia smiled, reminding you that as newlyweds, they were officially on marriage leave. You felt a bit foolish for forgetting that detail. The atmosphere turned slightly awkward. You soon noticed the car was heading elsewhere. When you asked, she explained they were visiting the old family house. Her grandmother had been begging to see them for days. You nervously tapped your fingers, completely caught off guard by this sudden family visit. Sophia noticed your anxiety and gently teased you, offering to turn the car around right now if you really felt too nervous to go. You quickly stopped her, assuring her that you were fine and that they shouldn't keep her eager grandmother waiting any longer. You really did not want to disappoint the family elders. Soon, the car pulled up to the Grand Smith estate, and the gate immediately swung wide open for you. Servants rushed inside to announce your arrival as Sophia stepped out of the car. Grabbing the gifts from the trunk, you quickly fixed your hair in the mirror, trying your best to look as mature and presentable as possible. You had a unique charm of your own, though not the typical model type. Back when you were dating Lucy, her wealthy stepmother constantly mocked your plain looks in public and private. That was how you learned she wasn't Lucy's real mother, so you never let her insults bother you. But Sophia's family was genuinely kind, making you want to leave a stellar impression. Suddenly, the elderly Madam Smith came rushing out. Sophia's mother ran close behind her in high heels, begging her to slow down. But the excited elderly woman paid absolutely no attention to anyone else. But as she reached the door, she suddenly remembered a warning Sophia gave her, screeching to a sudden halt. She quickly hunched her back to look weak and frail. Her daughter-in-law almost crashed into her in surprise as she waved her off. Whispering quickly, the grandmother reminded her to act like she was in terrible health, always playing her dramatic roles to absolute perfection. Agreeing in confusion, she helped her inside. By then, you had already crossed the threshold, even though you had met them briefly before. And trust me, we're about to see how this nervous first meeting goes, so make sure to stick around for the next chapter. You and I are about to watch our guy face his new wealthy in-laws. Squeezing Sophia's hand, he nervously greets them, saying, "Grandma." Next, he turns to her mother. The word mom gets stuck in his throat several times before he finally manages to choke it out. He wonders if she finds it weird being called mom by someone she barely knows. Deep down, he is still feeling pretty shy. But the grandmother is absolutely thrilled to hear him call her grandma. She instantly drops her own daughter-in-law's hand to grab his. Pulling him right away from his wife, she beams, saying she has been eagerly waiting for this day to finally arrive. Then she glares at Sophia for bringing her husband back without warning, wearing nothing but casual clothes instead of a formal suit. She worries the new son-in-law will think they do not respect him, while Sophia just shrugs it off with an indifferent smile. Sophia happily takes the blame, agreeing with everything, which makes the grandmother even more pleased with her granddaughter's chosen husband. She ushers him inside, asking if Sophia has been treating him well since the wedding or if she has been bullying him. Looking him over, the grandmother squeezes his hand and frowns, insisting that her favorite new grandson-in-law has lost weight. She complains that Sophia does not know how to take care of anyone and promises to cook a massive feast, leaving him touching his chubby cheeks in confusion. After all, Sophia is a great cook and he has actually been eating more than usual. But grandmother does not give him any chance to defend his wife. Now watch closely. Grandmother pulls our guy to the backyard, leaving Sophia buried under gift boxes, looking lost at her mother. Feeling completely cast aside, Sophia watches as her mother brushes her off, telling her she is not even allowed to come inside yet. Ordering her to stay behind to welcome the coming guests, her mother quickly rushes inside to see her new son-in-law, leaving Sophia standing there totally dumbfounded. Fortunately, the maid steps in to take the heavy gift boxes from her, suggesting that she go inside while they watch the door. Sophia tells them to just take the stuff inside, standing alone at the entrance as she deeply ponders the true meaning of attraction. How do you actually attract someone? She pulls out her phone to search the definition, reading about how objects draw things toward themselves. Realizing she needs to focus on herself, she opens her chat with her friend Penny to ask how to draw someone in. Since Penny lives online, she replies instantly. When Sophia asks, Penny jokingly asks if her account was hacked and who she is trying to charm. She reminds Sophia that she is a married woman now, teasing her until Sophia loses her patience and demands a straight answer. Sensing the danger through the screen, Penny gets right to the point and asks if she has ever heard of phishing. To fish means to know your target perfectly, using their weaknesses to completely win them over at the right moment. Deciding texting is not enough, Penny calls her to give a direct lesson. Meanwhile, inside the house, the mother and grandmother sit on both sides. I know what you're thinking. This guy looks like a nervous school kid. They flank him like bodyguards while he sits there, hands perfectly folded. Grandmother then orders a servant to bring a leather box containing custom dark blue diamond jewelry, cufflinks, a tie clip, and a luxury watch. Shocked by the luxury, he tries to refuse, but grandmother gently pats his hand and tells him to accept it. Calling him silly, she hands over a document, explaining it was prepared by his late grandfather years ago. It is a special welcoming gift for the family's son-in-law. His hands shake as he opens it and sees shares of the Smith family empire. She smiles warmly, telling him that the paperwork is already signed and will take effect the moment he writes his name down. They hand him a pen, urging him to sign before the rest of the extended family arrives to shower him with red envelopes. Mother Smith gently reassures Mason that they are family now, so he deserves this gift and should not feel any burden. Deeply moved by their incredible warmth, he finally signs his name on the paper. Mother Smith then presents a gorgeous sapphire necklace that perfectly matches his blue cufflinks. Just then, Sophia and the rest of the family walk in, looking sharp in tailored suits with the powerful aura of top bosses. Luckily, Sophia introduces everyone, and he greets them warmly, quickly collecting a mountain of red envelopes loaded with cash. Realizing he does not have their contact details, they pull out their phones and start clamoring to add him until grandmother demands order. Sophia quickly adds Mason to the family group chat, while the elders loudly declare that if anyone in this world ever dares to bully him, he must tell them instantly. Her uncles promise to back him up no matter what. Once the gifting ends, Sophia hands out the thoughtful presents he chose for everyone. She makes sure they know he handpicked them, and grandmother is absolutely delighted with her custom doll set. Finally, letting out a sigh of relief, he wanders into the tea room while grandmother prepares dinner. On the wall, a massive family portrait catches his eye. He spots an incredibly adorable picture of Sophia as a child, then notices an old family album tucked away on a nearby bookshelf. As he flips to her childhood section, Sophia suddenly grabs his hand from behind, her familiar scent wrapping around him as she stops him. He smiles, holding onto the page as they share a quiet, intimate moment, staring into each other's eyes. Laughing softly, she covers his eyes and snatches the book away, her voice tense but playful as she hides it on the very top shelf. And that's where we leave them, our guy looking like an angry little pufferfish as she gently pats his head. Absolutely adorable, right? Alright, you and I are jumping right into a wild family drama. As lunchtime rolls around, Madam Smith invites everyone into the dining hall, while our main character smiles and fixes their messy hair. He instantly agrees to let her stay the night, making the old matriarch beam with joy as she drags you inside. Seizing the perfect moment, Mother Smith corners Sophia, asking what is really going on between her, Mason, and that Lancaster kid. She brings up that old high school brawl where Sophia was saved by him, adding that Mason has absolutely no clue about it. But Mother Smith shuts down the gossiping family. Even if her daughter fell for a bad boy, who cares? It does not matter. With that, Mother Smith heads out. Sophia wonders where you ran off to, then calls around asking if Mason has any spare clothes. Sophia scoffs as her mother leaves, but her phone suddenly buzzes. It is a text from Penny promising 50% of a massive surprise. Sophia responds with total indifference, but Penny cannot help spilling the tea. Leo is taking massive losses from a wave of returns. Angry shareholders are demanding answers from Lu Ruan, but Sophia shrugs it off. Penny sighs, wondering why she is so chill about her rival's downfall. Sophia knows Penny wants to celebrate, but she is worried Lucy is acting just to manipulate your feelings. Impersonating Lucy would only breed pity and push you further away. So Sophia tells Penny to just sit back, relax, and watch the show unfold. Now, pay attention here because things take a dark turn. Lucy rushes from the hospital straight to the company, chewing food mechanically as if she has lost all taste. Down in the parking garage, she hides her files and locks down her emotions. Acting like nothing happened, she steps into the president's private elevator. The moment the doors slide open, angry shareholders waiting in the lobby barge right in, and one of them instantly sneers. He mocks her leadership, asking why she even showed up before closing time. Suddenly, Chloe steps in to defend Lucy. She quotes their general manager, but the shareholder snaps back, asking who gave her permission to talk. Embarrassed, Chloe turns red and shuts up. Lucy calmly invites them into her office to talk, but suddenly, Ethan bursts in wearing a gray suit, sobbing and wailing. He begs her to save him, crying that he was arrested and reminding her of the promise she made before. He thought taking the fall meant everything would be fine, but the company's legal team sued him anyway. Now, his entire life is on the line. Blind with tears, Ethan does not notice the mocking looks on the shareholders' faces or Lucy's cold, tense expression. Sam almost drops his tray in shock. Ethan completely ignores the room, but Lucy icy coldly orders him to get out immediately. With wide, tearful eyes, he desperately tries to reach her, but a shareholder blocks him, laughing that this dramatic sob story belongs on a movie set. The atmosphere grows hostile as the board joins in, whispering that an illegitimate daughter will always remain a secret shame. You and I both know they are crossing the line now. They mock her for trading a Miller family heir for a nobody. Lucy snaps, asking if he even understands human language before yelling at him to get out. Terrified, Ethan pales, realizing he messed up big time. He trembles and begs for her forgiveness, but Lucy just stands there like an absolute block of ice. The entire office falls dead silent before she finally speaks up, coldly ordering him to pack his bags and vanish from her sight forever. Ethan stumbles back in absolute shock, begging for one last chance as he desperately reaches for her sleeve, while Lucy barely holds back her explosive rage. She fights every ounce of her polite upbringing to keep from slapping his pathetic face. Instead, she tells him to leave with the things she bought him. She promises to have Sam transfer the house and car to his name, making Ethan realize just how much she has spoiled him over the years. With those massive assets, he could easily live comfortably forever. Still, he tries to play the victim, squeezing out fake tears and claiming he only wants her love. He begs her not to throw him out, claiming he can live without money, but his words do absolutely nothing to melt her frozen heart. Lucy coldly tells him to return the keys to the house and car then, immediately ordering Sam to drag him out of her sight. She gives him 3 days to pack. Ethan watches in horror as Sam drags him away, leaving the office dead silent as Lucy retreats to the kitchen. Everything is perfectly clean, but he is completely gone. She downs a drink, wondering why getting rid of Ethan does not bring her any joy. Back at the Smith estate, Sophia pulls the old matriarch aside, while the family cash has already been moved out of the bedroom. She gets directions from a maid and heads upstairs, slipping into the unlocked, dimly lit room. The massive, dark space instantly makes her feel uneasy, but seeing the familiar skincare products and luxury gift boxes on the vanity allows her to breathe a sigh of relief. She realizes she is in the right place. Hearing the sound of running water, Sophia looks at the bathroom door and timidly asks who is there as your deep voice echoes back. You tell her you will be out soon, making her nervously clutch her phone as she tells you there is absolutely no rush. You turn off the shower, planning to throw on a tank top, but remembering Penny's advice, you hide the shirt and grab a bathrobe instead. Sophia is still staring at a single photo, wondering about their relationship, when the bathroom door swings open. You walk out wearing only a loose bathrobe. With water dripping down your neck and a sweet scent filling the air, Sophia completely loses her focus, trips over her own feet, and falls forward. Bracing for impact, Sophia squeezes her eyes shut. But just as she is about to hit the floor, you reach out and grab her arm. You pull her up, but since you are so close, she keeps stumbling. Trust me, you and I are going to want to see what happens next. Alright, let's jump right into a moment of pure panic. Sophia suddenly gasps in pain, sweat dripping down her face, so our main character uses a quick trick to make her lean all her weight on him. Looking down at her injured foot, he instantly blames himself. Sophia clings tightly to him, her entire body dangling in his arms as she tries to relax after that sudden spike of agony. I know what you were thinking, and yeah, things get incredibly tense here as her cheek presses right against his bare, open chest. But then, blood starts soaking through his bathrobe. In a tiny, barely audible whisper, she blames her own clumsiness instead of him. And that is where we leave them, with him feeling guilty, gently scooping her up as she wraps her arms tightly around his neck. Trust me, this is where things get incredibly tense. His fingertips brushed her warm skin, and he instantly froze, suddenly realizing he had gone way too far. Now watch this. Sophia whispers for him not to move, holding on tight as he finally carries her over to the sofa. You and I both felt that spark. Stick with me here. After carefully setting the cushion down, our main character kneels to inspect Sophia's foot, noticing her ankle is already swollen. Sophia shyly says she is fine, noting how closely he is examining her, and warns him to stay careful anyway. Alright, you and I are jumping into a seriously spicy moment. Bending down to apply the oil, you kneel right in front of Sophia, whose loose bathrobe has slipped wide open, revealing way too much of her smooth skin. Staring at Sophia's rock-hard abs, she blushes and stammers, telling her to go change her clothes right now. Alright, you and I are about to watch some serious romance drama unfold between these two. Jillian grabs a fresh set of clothes, shuts the door, and reminds Sophia that he needs to change. Sophia quickly turns around, sitting down obediently and promising not to sneak a peek. Meanwhile, Jillian reaches down to untie his bathrobe belt. To keep her eyes from wandering where they shouldn't, Sophia just squeezes them shut. But in the quiet room, every little sound feels incredibly loud. The rustle of clothes gets her heart racing, turning her cheeks bright red. Now watch closely, because things are about to get even more tense. Spotting her closed eyes, Jillian can't help but tease her. He gently taps her ear and whispers for his princess to finally look at him. Her eyelashes flutter open, meeting his dark, intense gaze. He's fully changed into a sharp silk business suit, looking incredibly handsome and completely pulling it off. Is this suit even more distracting than the bathrobe? You and I both know she's struggling to look away as Jillian kneels back down to help her. He offers to massage her pressure points, telling her to speak up if it hurts. After she nods, he gently removes her high heel to massage her swollen ankle. Sophia whispers softly, begging him to make the throbbing pain stop. It seems like a perfectly sweet, intimate moment. But outside, Madam Smith freezes right at the door. Her hand stops mid-knock as she quietly celebrates the fact that she didn't let anyone else bring up the clothes. Smiling, she whispers about them causing trouble already, and that's where we leave it. Trust me, these two are just getting started. Alright, you and I are diving into a romance with tons of tension. It starts when Sophia badly sprains her swollen ankle, and our main character rushes to grab some soothing oil. His mother orders the staff to bring Sophia some dry clothes. She tells him to sit beside her and ask gently, "How on earth did you get hurt?" Sophia coughs lightly, claiming she was just being careless and telling everyone not to worry. Right then, 5 or 6 sales staff arrive carrying piles of beautiful new outfits. While the clothes are set aside, Madam Smith tries to personally apply the ointment. Sophia politely refuses, so our main character steps in, uncapping the oil himself. "Let me handle this," he says, gently rubbing her ankle with practiced ease before heading off to wash his hands. Madam Smith whispers to him, saying Sophia is too pampered and needs to learn to help out. He blushes instantly, defending her by saying she already treats him incredibly well. After the models show off the stunning new outfits, Sophia selects a few favorites and politely escorts them out. Pay attention here, because her heart is starting to melt. He acts so bold and brave, but seeing those work clothes nearby brings back his old fears. As Sophia gets ready to change, she senses his sudden awkwardness and suggests, "Mason, why don't you hide in the bathroom for a bit? I will call you when I am done," she promises. He asks why she did not just change in the bathroom herself, and she admits she simply forgot. Since she can't sleep without bathing, she decides to use a warm towel. He thoughtfully prepares hot water and a small wooden stool inside the bathroom. He helps her inside and she relaxes completely. Suddenly, soft, beautiful music plays outside, completely drowning out the sound of splashing water. You probably didn't expect this, but the beautiful melody melts her heart. She is completely shocked by how sweet and thoughtful he actually is. He quietly pours himself a glass of water and sits down, but the silence is broken when Yuming's phone rings with an urgent message from Penny. It turns out Lucy's relationship with the shareholders has completely collapsed. Lucy is panicking, but Sophia isn't surprised by this dramatic turn of events at all. Instead, she remembers Lucy's constant complaints about him because of Ethan. Sophia immediately asks Penny where Ethan is, wanting to know the truth. Ethan had begged for his sister but got fired after bumping into Lucy during the board meeting. Right at that moment, the bathroom door slowly swings open. Sophia steps out wearing a stunning Z-shaped silk dress, leaning gently against the doorframe. The elegant fabric makes her soft, glowing pink skin look absolutely breathtaking. Shrouded in a warm halo of steam, she takes a step forward. Sensing her struggle to walk, he rushes over to catch her. "Don't slip in those wet shoes," he warns, immediately closing the distance to sweep her up in his arms before she can fall. His warmth radiates right through her clothes, and feeling his firm muscles beneath his shirt makes Sophia's heart race as a deep blush covers her face. And that's where we leave them, with red ears and racing hearts as he carries her downstairs. Trust me, you'll want to see how this sweet romance unfolds. Check this out. Looking at the single wide chair, she hesitates, worried about crossing any lines. But our main character just whispers reassuringly, making sure she knows everything is completely fine. "I can easily crash on the couch," he said, helping her tidy up the spare bed first. He grabbed a blanket and pillow and headed over, leaving her feeling incredibly conflicted about his kind gesture. He bundled up on the sofa, feeling totally out of place with someone else around. Before he knew it, the morning light was already shining through. Stick with me here. Sophia woke up to find the couch empty, with only a neatly folded blanket left behind. Checking her phone, Sophia saw it was barely past 7 in the morning. Sleeping at her old place was definitely rough, but slipping into her house shoes made her sprained ankle feel a whole lot better. Suddenly, the bathroom door swung open. Dressed sharply, he stepped out and asked if her injured foot was doing any better. Testing her ankle, Sophia took a few careful steps to make sure. He gently suggested she head into the bathroom to get dressed first. "I'll head downstairs first," he said. Sophia nodded, finding fresh cleanser and toothpaste waiting for her in the clean bathroom. Grabbing her pink toothbrush, she rinsed her mouth in front of the mirror, only to realize a ridiculous clump of hair was sticking straight up. Meanwhile, Lucy's evil plan was running perfectly smoothly, just waiting for Ethan to fall into her trap. Nearby, Sophia stood by the window, lost in her own thoughts. Her phone suddenly buzzed with a call from Yuming just as Penny sent over a quick text. Ethan was kicked out of Lou's garage and lost his cars, resorting to selling jewelry to afford a hotel room. Heart racing, Sophia ordered Penny to keep trailing him. Staring miserably at his lawyer, Ethan felt a wave of despair. Defending his sister was proving to be an impossibly difficult uphill battle. "Now, watch closely," he begged every single law firm in town, but nobody dared touch the case, leaving him completely stranded on the street. His phone rang, and his mother's shrill voice blasted through, demanding why he was ignoring her. He lied, claiming the elevator signal was terrible. "Where is your sister? Why have you ghosted me for 2 days?" He had to lie to his demanding mother, pretending his sister was just buried in work. The moment she brought up handing over the kid, tears welled up in Ethan's eyes as he desperately tried to hold back his tears. Hanging up, the harsh truth hit him. His bank account was practically empty, and he watched in pure horror as his entire life completely crumbled. With nowhere left to turn, his phone buzzed again with an unknown number. Just like that, another dangerous scheme was set in motion. At Beijing's famous Xiaoshang Mansion restaurant, the entrance was chaotic as Chloe struggled to support a completely wasted Lucy. Her face was beet red as she leaned against a pillar, dry heaving, while several anxious staff members stood nearby, ready to help. The worried manager asked if they should set up a room for President Liu to sober up, but Chloe struggled to hold her up, snapping that it wasn't necessary. "I already called a ride. They'll be here soon," she said, splashing some water to rinse out Lucy's mouth. She sent the staff away to grab the loan contract. Lucy had clearly overdone it this time, and Chloe's heart ached seeing her like this. Sister Lucy had never pushed herself this hard before. By the time assistant Sam and the driver pulled up, Chloe was absolutely drenched in sweat from exhaustion. Even after Sam and the driver took over, the chaos didn't stop. Ignoring her aching arms, Chloe kept trying to clean Lucy up. As the cold water hit her throat, Lucy shuddered, and her blurry vision finally began to focus again. Just when Chloe breathed a sigh of relief, look who shows up. The manager's voice rang out, guiding Mr. Shen and Mr. Wang down the steps. The warm entrance lights illuminated the darkness as Sophia and Wyatt walked out of the hall together, polite, elegant smiles plastered across their faces. Wyatt couldn't hide his absolute thrill, thanking Mr. Shen and expressing how honored they were to lock in this major cooperation deal. Sophia smiled and shook hands. "No need for modesty, Mr. Wang. Your brother and my husband actually go back a very long way. I have complete faith in your family's incredible vision." Hearing the name President Shen, Chloe instantly whipped her head around in pure shock. Standing under the glowing entrance lights, Sophia looked absolutely radiant. Chloe recognized her voice instantly and panicked, terrified that Lucy would hear the commotion behind them. She desperately urged Sam and the driver to move, but it was already too late. Hearing Sophia's voice, Lucy whipped her head around. The sight of her rival triggered a sudden burst of energy, but she was so incredibly drunk she could barely take a step. She stumbled forward just 2 steps before face-planting onto the pavement, forcing Chloe to rush over and try to pull her up. The fall was so hard she nearly crashed onto her knees, but luckily she wasn't seriously hurt. Meanwhile, Sophia and Wyatt definitely noticed the scene. Sophia raised a hand, telling her assistant to stand down. Giving the pathetic, face-down Lucy a freezing look, she calmly said goodbye to Wyatt. But Lucy's pride took the biggest hit. Ignoring the painful scratches on her knees and hands, she tossed her contract aside and glared furiously at Sophia. "Sophia Smith, you fake." Before she could finish her insult, Sam shoved a towel over her mouth, while Chloe and the driver scrambled to hold her down. They shoved her into the back seat as fast as they could while Sam quickly gathered the papers scattered all over the pavement. In the back, Lucy was still screaming and flailing like a maniac. Chloe was completely powerless to stop her. The moment Sam jumped in, she begged him for help. Chloe could only watch in awe as Sam masterfully tied Lucy's hands behind her back. He secured her with nylon string, even finishing it with a cute bow. Chloe sighed. "You do realize she's your boss, right? Sam just quietly organized the papers. And that's where we leave things with a tied-up boss and a completely exhausted assistant. Talk about drama. Stick with me because we are diving right into some insane high society drama. A handsome guy suddenly appears near the estate. Chloe looks closely. Yes, it is definitely Ethan. It probably came to meet General Manager Lou. Honestly, she gets Ethan way better than Chloe ever did. Knowing he is in bad shape, Ethan spots her car and waves. But Chloe just scoffs, totally ignoring him as she drives straight past, leaving his hair whipping in the wind. He just stares blankly as her license plate disappears, standing frozen while thinking about his past with Lucy. He had even turned down Lucy's amazing house deal, yet they would not even give him a chance to meet. Wyatt watches Sophia drive off, rubbing his tired face while forcing a smile. Now, pay attention, because he is grinning ear to ear holding that fresh contract. We tried everything, yet the Smith family remains completely unreachable. Who knew the best connections were right under our noses? Wyatt remembers the sweet bird's nest soup Sophia packed for them. Sophia puts the food container away and tells Mason he is incredibly lucky. Assistant Xavier glances at President Shen in the mirror, wondering if she is mad. Sophia runs a hand through her long hair as he unbuttons his collar, asking lazily what she could possibly be mad about. Honestly, I should be happy, he chuckles. If Lucy had any real ambition, she would be the one losing her mind right now. To Lucy, her massive downfall actually feels like a victory. Seeing her struggle makes Sophia incredibly happy, and she quickly glances down at her expensive watch. You and I both know she is worried Mason might be anxious since she is running so late. Her assistant just tells her to check her phone. It is dead silent. She laughs, realizing he probably is not worried. Xavier grips the wheel tightly, staring at the traffic. Ever since she got engaged to young Master Mason, the workaholic President Shen is barely at the office. Talk about a complete shift. He is a devoted husband who completely ignores his work. Suddenly, a loud text notification shatters the quiet car ride. A cute cat icon pops up. Swiping past the glowing screen with her delicate fingers, she unlocks the phone to read the text. Are you busy today? Sophia smiles, texting back that they just signed the deal and are heading home, shocked by his lightning-fast reply. He texts back saying he will wait. Staring at those words, a warm, sweet feeling rushes through her chest. Over in the Smith garden, Mason holds his phone, instantly regretting his text. He should have known she was coming home. Tonight is their very first official night living together, and trust me, we can see how desperately he wants her home, especially with what she prepared.